A cold and blustery, windy day here high atop Mountain Ridge near Somerset, Pennsylvania. This is round number 11 of America's premier off-road racing championship, the AMSOIL GNCC Series presented by Maxxis, an AMA National Championship. And this is the CarMate Trailers Mountain Ridge GNCC. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Mountain Ridge GNCC. I'm Rodney Tomlin along with Fred Andrews and Megawatt Matt Watson as we bring to the world, across the worldwide globe, of course, this RacerTV broadcast. And welcome aboard, of course, as GNCC Live is set to go as we're down here onto the starting line. Some rain showers falling over the course of the last couple of days, but that's not the big problem. It's the cold temperatures and the windy conditions that we're seeing. We expected to see wind here in Pennsylvania due to the fact that this is a wind farm, but with the Hurricane Joaquin blowing just off to our east, it's also picking up a little bit of extra wind and a little bit of extra steam, and could make for a very interesting race day today with only 9 points separating our top two in points today. And of course, with that, a big championship point swing from round number 10 just 2 weeks ago at the Unadilla GNCC. What is today going to bring? Hold on tight, my friends. GNCC Live rolls right now as we take a look at our starting lineup here today from this XC1 Pro class. Ladies and gentlemen, we turn our attention down to the first turn region. He's rolling to the line first today for the first time since round 2, when he lost a points lead after that season opener win in Florida. Riding aboard the number 2, he hails from Rogers, Ohio, on an Infab and Pro Yamaha, backed by Maxxis, MXP, and Lone Star, Walker Fowler. Rolling to the line second today, he is held on to the points lead since round number 2, but today he rolls to the line second. Riding aboard the number 521 after a near DNF 2 weeks ago from West Union, West Virginia on a CST Pirate MX LSR DeRisi Tire Blocks SG backed Honda, Adam McGill. Rolling to the line today, third in points. He captured his first win just 2 races ago at the Snowshoe GNCC. Hailing from right here out of the great state of PA, out of Casca on a JMR ATVRiders.com Honda, Jared the Cobra McClure. Rolling to the line today, fourth in points. He won the first 4 times racing here at this Mountain Ridge ATV resort. He now sits 4th in points aboard the number 1 from Sunbury, Pennsylvania on a Maxxis Fly factory-backed Yamaha, Chris Bullridge. Rolling to the line today, 5th in points. He rides aboard the number 6 from Bidwell, Ohio. Finished on the podium here just 1 year ago on a Maxxis B. Neal Motorsports backed Yamaha, Bryson Neal. Rolling to the line today, 6th in points. He rides aboard the number 7 from Irwin, Pennsylvania on a Bithell Racing Maxxis Precision Back Suzuki, Chris Bithell. Rolling to the line, 7th today. He rides aboard the number 9 machine from Mount Pleasant, Pennsylvania on a Coastal Waynesburg MXP Axis Lone Star Yoshimura back machine, Jay Shadron. He rolls to the line next today. He rides aboard the number 16 from Aurora, Ohio on a GBC Yamaha backed by HMF, Johnny G, Johnny Gallagher. Actually, no, that was the 341 of Brian Wolfe, I believe, in 8th place. Sorry about that. And believe it or not, he was a winner here in 2011. Sorry about that, B. Wolfe. That could mean that Fast Tracks backed Wolfe Racing rider could be in store for another big win here today as we go now 9th in points aboard the number 16. There he is, folks, from Aurora, Ohio, Johnny G, Johnny Gallagher. Hey, we're all inclined to a mistake every once in a while. Rolling to the line today, 10th in points. He rides aboard the number 14 from Manchester, Maryland, freshly on the Honda. Off his top best finish ever just 2 weeks ago on a show hauler, Max's Cycle Barn-backed Honda, LANDON WOLFE. And rolling to the line next, he rides aboard the number 934 from Marietta, Ohio on a Team Woodhead Baldwin Motorsports Maxxis backed Honda, Braden Hinthorn. Next to the line, riding aboard the number 13 from Akron, Ohio on a Maxxis B&R Moose Racing backed Yamaha, Josh Merritt. Rolling to the line next, he rides aboard the number 12 from Hopedale, Ohio on a B&R GBC backed Yamaha, Kevin Yoho. And last and certainly not least, from Montrose, West Virginia on a Sturdivant Racing Honda, Brent Sturdivant. And that, ladies and gentlemen, your starting lineup for this. The CarMate Trailers Mountain Ridge GNCC, as we turn our attention up to Ricky Towery, who is our maestro and conductor of ceremonies, if you will. A rather healthy crowd considering conditions and forecasts coming into this weekend's race, with Hurricane Joaquin just to our southeast sort of at this time. Expecting a few inches of rain this weekend, but nothing like what the East Coast is getting for sure. And we are here doing it GNCC style, my friends. It's all mud, sweat, and gears that take place right here in the GNCC Racing Nation, and you're about to see the true grit of what the GNCC stars are all about, my friends, as the crowds are anticipating the greatness that is about to take place here today on top of this mountain here at the aptly named Mountain Ridge. From the shadows of the Flight 93 Memorial, just a couple of mountaintops away from where we are right now, we are set to write another page into the GNCC racing history books as Ricky Towery finds his way out into turn number 1 now, as he's set to signal to these riders that we are 1 minute away from GNCC racing resuming here in the 2015 season, and looking for that new ATV GNCC champion to be crowned. It most likely will not, cannot happen today, my friends, but there are a number of things that can happen that can really set this championship ablaze as far as the points race is concerned. As all eyes bear down into that first turn now, Ricky Towery feels the heat as he gets set to let them know. Shut them down, boys. Shut them down, shut them down, shut them down. We are now less than 30 seconds away from going racing now. Shut them down, shut them down, shut them down. And I got to ask you, Somerset race fans, are you ready to go GNCC racing? I heard that a little bit. I really did. Now, let's shut these guys down. Let's try that one more time. I'm going to ask you one more time, Somerset. Are you ready to go GNCC racing? 10 seconds. And row number 1, the XC1 Pro, will be off and rolling here at the CarMate Trailers Mountain Ridge GNCC. Kick starts down $250. Hot Cams, All Balls, Whole Shots Awards. And it's going to be, wow, the number 14, the 14 of LW, LANDON WOLFE out of Manchester, Maryland, taking the early lead in this one and snagging that extra $250 there, my friends, as we go next to the XC2 Pro-Am class. Row number 2, 19 riders, including Cole Richardson, Marty Christopherson, Randy Hamilton, James Green, Wes Kinsley, Jonathan Bugate, Levi Cohen, Robbie Picarori, Tommy Kuntz, also Luke Shepard, Cody Collier, Danny Rogers, Bryson Hops, Wes Spinks, Andrew Connors, Cameron Bruce, Cameron Yoakley, Michael Lancaster, and Ben Amen, ready to roll on Ricky Towery's cue of 10 seconds. Another $100 hole shot up for grabs now as the kickstarts are down on this one. See if we can snag that hole shot. And it's the number 5, the Cole Train himself, Cole Richardson, grabbing not only the early lead, but a big sigh of relief for himself, but I'm sure the rest of the field not so much. As the College A 16 to 21-year-old class gets set to roll. Big names in this one, including Kevin McCowan, Kristen Meyer. Also, we got Kenny Schick, Dylan Edwards, Michael Frederick, Devin Fehan, Brendan Eichert, Corey Silverthorne, Noah Landis, Craig Covert, Anthony Barnes, Drew Landis, Wesley Wolfe, and Brody Lamoreau ready to roll in 10 seconds. And riders rounding that first turn. Well, they sorted out in the College A. I think that might have been Wolfe grabbing that early lead. Junior A 22+ class, Nathan Hornacek, Matthew King, Simon Bissell, Cody Moffitt, Joshua Beach, Robert Heckman, William Lloyd, that's old Duck Lloyd, Stephen Covert, Dwight Pollard, and Dustin Piggott are ready to roll in Ricky Towery's cue as he lets them know. 10 seconds. Junior A 22+ class off and rolling now. Rounding the first turn, they're driving for the early lead in the turn 2. Who's got that? Already numbers covered up in mud, kind of hard to see there. Of that A 28+ class coming up next with Big Papa P himself, Jeffrey Pickens, Wesley Stone, Mark Cassell, also Kenneth Kelly, Justin Eddy, Walter Schumacher, Dustin Hendershot, Corbin Knox, Matt Hanna, and Matt Pierce. 10 seconds. And they're off. Up next, it's not the biggest of classes on the line, but they certainly got some of the truest heart, no doubt about it. It is your senior AB 38+ class with John Glotta, Mark Batson, and Andy Cooper all ready to roll here. 10 seconds. I guess some of the old guys not so apt to come out and race these conditions. Not going to say necessarily that I blame them, though, but it is the 9, or maybe it was the 41, John Glott out of Waxhaw, North Carolina, grabbing the early lead. His son nearly winning the overall, not winning the overall earlier today. College B 16 to 21-year-olds coming up next. Jonathan Steiner, Andrew Manbeck, Brandon Barnes, Dustin Atkinson, Joseph Yerkes, Charles Dawson, Jamie Wells, Bobby Duker, Weston Scott. 10 seconds. Donald Boylan, Peyton Wallace, Cameron Horton, also Frankie Egress, Emily Wise, Blake Meyer, Braden Schick. Little Miss Emily. Oh, she got swallowed up. Normally, the 419 you see there with the pink bumper is one of the early leaders, but not able to grab the hole shot. Has not been on the bike since the John Penton GNCC. But nonetheless, she gets a strong start here with her male counterparts in the College B 16 to 21 class. Coming up next is going to be the Junior B class. Eric Hollifield, Robert Mapp. Also, Brett Fike, James Mauger, Curtis Tarman, Chris Siriana, Ryan Canfield, Kyle Cassell, Brian Felicki, Jay Turner. Waiting on Ricky Towery. Junior B 22+ class. Woo. Woo, getting a little skating out there. The vet B30 plus class, Jeremy Gouchard. Todd Moscala, the Bro, man. Also Charles Rogers, Craig Wilson, Lyle Morrison, Devin Hammers, Craig Hauk, Gregory Westfall, James Cook, John Salsa, John Colvin, Ricky Zorn, Dale Batson, Daniel Webb, Brian Locke, Adam Reed, Philip Thayer, and Nathan Price. 10 seconds. And the final row off and rolling here today. Mercy sakes alive, I'm telling you folks, it's gonna be a good one, no doubt about it. As some 225 riders this afternoon are making their way into the wilds of Pennsylvania here in these rocky terrain. We'll be catching up with several different mile markers here on GNCC Live, so be sure and stay tuned to RacerTV.com as our continuing coverage of this, the CarMate Custom Built Trailers Mountain Ridge GNCC continues after this.
Any engine, any season, at home, at the track, or on the trail. AMSOIL for any engine.
Okay, welcome back. We're back here at Mountain Ridge GNCC here in central Pennsylvania City. Starting off Megawatt with a beautiful day here with the sun shining and the track's really looking sweet out there.
Absolutely. Got fantastic track conditions, great weather. Got a little bit overcast conditions, but other than that, we're in good shape, Fred.
No, really, folks, out here today, we've got a little bit of overcast here. You know, we've had the hurricane coming up the East Coast. Well, it's caught up to us here. You know, the track's really wet. We got a lot of moisture in the air. We got some water laying, but I think we're in really good shape with this track here because it's been, the dirt actually will let it soak in it up, and we're not going to have those big super giant mud holes, those big giant ruts. It's going to be more slick and water laying everywhere, you know, because we've got a really rocky base here today.
Yeah, anytime you have this kind of gravel, you're definitely going to have some drainage as well. But when I talk to the 4x4 pro guys, when I talk to the schoolboy kids this morning, the WXC ladies, it wasn't really that big of an issue as far as the conditions and the traction, the mud and the rain. You know, more so than anything, a lot of the competitors were cold, Fred. The bodies come up to operating temperature, you start racing, and then when you get a little follow the leader, you kind of fall into pace. Man, that sweat starts to get really cold on your body. The fingers start to lock up and that kind of thing. But as far as conditions and track, you know, we've seen much worse races at Snowshoe, at Georgia, Florida even, and that type of thing. So conditions overall not that bad, but just the visibility and the dreary conditions.
Yeah, like you said, I think on a day like today when it's really cold out, you know, everybody gets cold, your fingers get cold, but when you go to the start, if you put too many clothes on and then you try racing, like you said, Matt, that you overheat. And then you get too hot and it's worse on you. So you're almost better to go to the line a little bit cold, put a coat on, and then after you're get ready to go, take the coat off because your body will heat up, just like you said. When you're out there on the track, the coldness is all gone, your body's warmed up, you're catching people, and that's when the racing really gets to be fun. And I think our leaders are getting close, Matt, to, it looks like Walker Fowler and Adam McGill are coming our way right now, 1 and 2. So that's the battle that's going to happen. You know, Walker Fowler gained a whole bunch of points last race. Adam McGill had some bad luck. So in order for Adam McGill to take this championship that he's been in front for so long, he's got to win today. He's got to beat Walker Fowler.
Yeah, I had a chance to talk to some of the guys that help Adam, and you know, we're involved with a couple of the people that do. And you know, he's got a intense attitude for these last couple rounds. He knows what he has to do. He's intent on winning out. You know, I mean, the bottom line is he's going to win these last 3 rounds in his mind. He's already done that. That's the focus. So you know, it's up to Walker Fowler to keep him at bay.
Yeah, you know, I think Walker, he gained some momentum, but Walker's been there week in, week out all whole year. You know, he had one bad race. That's why he was behind a little. I mean, these two guys, neither one of them's going to ever give up until that checkered flag flies at the Ironman.
You know, so very different styles between these two riders. And as you mentioned, Walker's not going to give up by any means. He's had the best in the business rub his leg through the finish line many times. The bottom line is Walker knows what he has to do. He's been in a similar situation to this, and he's as focused as well. So what we're going to see here today is going to be a battle of the wheels.
Yeah, for sure. You know, and these guys really aren't looking on to the next race. They're focused on today. Everybody's racing today, so that's the main thing that's going on. We're just trying to get the best performance they can today, make the most points they can, and you know, with the track being like it is today, it's going to be tough on brakes, tough on tires, tough on chains and sprockets. With this loose water laying up on top mixed in with the dirt, it's just going to get in there and grind away at stuff. So it's going to be a hard race on the bikes, and your eyes also. You know, when the water's laying like this and you're hitting big water puddles, it's hard to wear goggles because no matter what you put on, the water's going to get behind your roll off or your tear off. So your eyes are going to be important today. So there's a lot of factors that move into this. So these guys are really going to have to be on top of their game. The pit crews are going to have to be there ready with goggles and gloves if they need them. And we're going to see some really good action here today.
Yeah, that's an awesome point, Fred. You know, you talk about the equipment so many times. We do certain things for dust races. We do certain things for mud races. But I tell you, the vision will be a problem here today, not just because of the mud, Fred. You and I are sitting here squinting right now. There's a glare that comes off of the fog, believe it or not. It reflects whatever little bit of light you have back at you. So imagine, Fred, you've been there a million times. You've got some drizzle on the goggles. The glare's coming back. It starts to shine a bit. Really tough on the eyes and make the eyes tired and strained today.
Oh, yeah, for sure. You know, everything is going to look worse than what it is because you really can't see, and as you're squinting, like you said, man, go out, it's tough out there. And today's a day when you need to kind of relax and be easy on the bike. Well, you're not going to be able to be like that today. You're going to have to stay focused all day long because things are going to be changing every lap.
You know, there's the old saying, you know, to finish first, you must first finish. You know, there's a bit of truth to that. You know, you have to preserve the equipment. You have to be prepared. But the bottom line is you don't win by holding back. No,
you know, there's a certain point when you just got to throw caution to the wind, and they're definitely not going to be sissies out there and powder coat things. They're going to go after it, whatever it takes. You know, I finished races with one eye shut and one eye I couldn't even see out of the other. So these guys are true champions. They all want to be champions. They're all going to do their very best. It's just that, you know, we hope that it doesn't come come down to that. You know, we don't want to see anybody having to ride without goggles on all the time and getting your eyes all muddy and not being able to see for 2 or 3 days after the race. But if that's what it takes, these guys will do it.
Hey, Fred, Ronnie Rush came in this morning, got his 10th win of the season overall this morning, ATV race, won the title, wrapped it up, almost had his eyes glued shut from the mud. It was amazing to see his face and his eyes. It was crazy.
Well, talking about that, Megawatt, let's go. We got a track description right now of what the boys are in for today, so we'll send that off to you.
Hello, everyone. We have a 10-mile track laid out here. As you can see behind me, the weather's pretty nasty. It's windy. It's cold, but that's GNCC Racing. All conditions, all elements. When these guys take off the start here, the first real obstacle they're going to get to is at the 1 mile marker. It's the FMF power point. We opened up a couple lines yesterday. If you take the, when they get to them, they're going to make a left and go up the power point. If you choose not to do that and you go around, it's probably 15 seconds slower to go around. So that's going to be a critical point on the track. From there, the next real obstacle they're going to encounter is around the 4 mile marker. From the 4 all the way to the 5.5 is pretty rocky. It's not massive rock gardens, but just a lot of small rock gardens. So it's pretty interesting in there with all the rocks. From there, past the 6 mile marker along some trackside pitting, and then drop back down over the hill from trackside, and then from the 7 all the way to the 8.5 is a lot more rocks in there. So it's the guys are going to need to take their time. I know they're going to want to rush it and get through them rocks, but they need to take their time and pick good lines through those rocks. Once they get through there to the 8 mile marker, 8.5, all the way into the 9, and then into the finish. So they were calling for this nasty weather all week, so when I laid the track out, I kind of tried to keep it pretty tame and not put any mud holes in it. And it's so far it's holding up pretty good, and hopefully everybody enjoys it.
Well, there you go, Megawatt. There's our track description, and you know, Barry and the crew did a great job of that also, making the track so we know we can race around it. You know, we knew this bad weather was coming, and we didn't want to put some big giant obstacles in and then having to change the whole track. You know, it's easier if this didn't come, they could have put those sections in, but right now we went ahead and made the track so we could all get around it. We could have some great racing, and this is what we're waiting for. We're waiting to see right now who comes to the finish line. We got reports that Walker Fowler and Adam McGill were together, and with our TVs not working right now, you know, with this moisture in the air, our hats off to our crew. You know, they're out there trying to get things to work. As you know, cameras don't work in the weather.
Hey, Fred, I got to tell you, these guys have been here since Thursday, and guess what? The weather was exactly like it is today on Thursday. They put in 10-hour days the last couple days. Cameras are fogging up, taking on moisture in the radios and that kind of thing. So hats off to the RacerTV guys and the sound crew guys, no question. Unbelievable conditions for them. Much harder for them than the racers right now, believe it or not.
Yeah, that's true. You know, you may not have a TV, but, you know, Megawatt and I, we're going to do our best to let you guys know at home what's going on. As soon as we see the leaders come through, we'll be going through. I'll see if looks like our computer's up and running, so we can give you some times on that. But right now, we can't even see the windmills out here. That's how much the fog is set in. And these windmills are, I don't know how to say how big they are, but the base of it where the propeller sits is as big as the motorhome. So these things are huge, Megawatt. We can't even see them. I can't imagine being out there in the woods trying to race through all this moisture and fog.
You know, I've tried to picture it a couple times, Fred. I've been sitting here, and there's 2 different windmills out in front of us, and they have gradually disappeared over the last 30 minutes. When we thought the skies would be clearing up somewhere 1 or 2 o'clock, were quite the contrary. Now all of a sudden we have worse visibility. Now a little less moisture falling, a little less rain falling, but a lot more fog, Fred. Now, hey, Barry Hawk touched on something about during the course description. Got to pick a good line through here. Got to pick a good spot. Hey, man, I don't think anywhere other than, say, maybe Snowshoe at Harrod's Hole and places like that, that line choice is going to be more critical than it is here today. Make a wrong choice, make a mistake with the visibility and with the conditions, man, that mistake could cost you minutes today.
Yeah, you know, and I think what Barry's really talking about is the rocks. These rock gardens out here are so big and so treacherous that if you get in the wrong one, you could get stuck. You could hit your sprocket on it, bend a sprocket, bend a disc or something. It's just take your time and get through there good and race where you can race. Don't try to force the issue. I mean, with the leaders, Adam McGill, and if him and Walker Fowler together, you know, they're going to be battling out, but I think they're not going to make that last-ditch effort until the last lap. Because, you know, you bend a rotor or bend a sprocket, you might be able to limp it in, but you sure don't want to do it at the beginning. So those two may just sit in together follow each other around and just kind of let the race come to them and not really push the issue early.
Yeah, and what's interesting about that, Fred, both of those guys have experienced problems. Both of those guys have experienced mechanicals. They've been in that situation where they know how costly it can be.
Yeah, you know, right now the mechanical, neither one of them can afford, so they're both going to be a little bit easy on that. But, you know, something we haven't talked about is like Chris Forage and all the rest of the crew. Those guys don't care about the championship. They're here to win races, so
absolutely.
They may get up in there, they may push the issue, and what's Walker Fowler and Adam McGill going to do? Are they going to let those guys take off? I think if I was in their shoe, I would say, okay, you're not in the points. You go ahead and lead the way around, and I'll follow you. Y'all use your lines and let you be the guinea pig.
You know, a million ways to look at that, Fred. You've been in that position before. You know, you've had to stop and look at that particular situation, and I can tell you, I would not want to be in their shoes. If I'm in the points lead, if I'm Walker Fowler and Borsch or one of these guys comes up, I'm going to play follow the leader. I'm going to let that guy go. But the problem is, if Adam tags onto him, throws a rope onto him, now you got to pick the game back up, and now you have to go to the front again. So just a tough way to go, Fred.
Yeah, you know, you think there's really nothing to this racing, but you're always thinking the whole time because, like you said, if you do let him go by and you're just kind of cruising, Adam McGill comes by and he's on fire. Well, if you were taking it easy, all of a sudden you got to re-jump start yourself to get back on fire. You may not be able to do that. So there's a lot of little tricks, a lot of cat and mouse games going on. But like you said, these guys have been there. They're each going to race their own race, and we're going to see what's going to happen here shortly. I'm not really sure how long the lap time's going to be, but I would think we're getting pretty close to ending this lap.
Oh,
and
great. Got word that they're going to be making their way. It sounds like Walker is still out front, and I hear the quads right behind us, Fred. It'll be interesting to see. But as you said, making that choice is going to be critical. With every decision comes either a reward or a consequence. Oh, and our leader misses a turn. Walker Fowler seems to have missed a turn right here. So as we peer around our tent here, our canopy, looking to see if that is Adam McGill making his way to the finish line. Here are a couple quads, and let's see. Caution flag is out now, so leaders make their way through. And I believe that is McGill, isn't it?
I don't know, man. It's hard to tell. These guys are so muddy. It kind of looked like somebody tall.
I just looked at the gear, but...
No, there's Adam McGill right there.
Oh, there's
maybe.
Adam.
So it looks like Walker Fowler, and whoever's in second, if it is Adam McGill, Adam McGill just took his goggles off and threw over to the crowd, so his pit crew should be ready to give him goggles because it's essential to have goggles. You lose your sight, you're out of the race. So I wouldn't be surprised to see him stop this first lap, get some goggles, and get back out after.
Yeah, a lot of these guys, Fred, you notice they'll carry a towel on the side of their pants. They'll carry a towel maybe around the handlebar, that kind of thing. To go ahead
McGill's
and
right
keep
now
the
in the
grip
pits.
clean.
We can't see it, but you guys can at home maybe. He's in there getting those goggles. And
Nice.
like you said, they carry that towel on the side of them. That's more or less for when your hands get all muddy. You can grab that towel and try to get all that mud off your hands so you can get your hands back on the handlebars and hold on because, you know, these guys got a lot of power going on there. And if your hands are slipping off, you're in big trouble.
Yeah, that grip is essential, and the European riders did that for years, Fred, as you know. It looked kind of goofy. They were rolling down the starting line with a shop rag on each side of their pants, but how critical that becomes, because even without a crash, you know the controls just get packed and get lathered up with mud, and holding on in these conditions is first and foremost.
Yeah, you know, well, like you say, there's a lot of roost coming up from the wheel, so it's getting all over you, all over your goggles, everything, and you got to be able to hold on. And I noticed, too, these guys are a lot muddier than I thought they'd be. I thought there'd be some water laying out there kind of keeping them washed off and fresh, but they're looking really, really, really muddy.
Yeah, it looks like a tackier mud than I was thinking, Fred. I thought it was going to be a bit soupier with the amount of water we had, but it looks like the topsoil and the grass out in the woods kind of got that peat kind of consistency, like peat moss, and I tell you what, it's just turning up like raw mud instead of the soup.
All right, we got our TV back on here in the booth so we can give you a little bit more updates. And right there's the coal train coming through on his first lap. And you can see from the TV screen there, mega wide, you can see all that haze and all that stuff going on out there. So we really got some nasty weather here. Like I said, it's great that the camera stuff's even working for you guys to see this at home.
I tell you, Fred, for the folks at home, that is a very accurate picture of what we're looking at live here. The camera's giving you exactly what we're seeing. And you can look out across there and see the visibility issues that we do have with the fog. Nothing to do with the mud, nothing to do with, you know, naturally dust or mud or that kind of thing. But when you look out there and see the drizzle and see the fog, it adds a whole new dimension.
Yeah, with with these quads too, they're coming into pro row again right here, and you can see it's really super windy here. So nobody's really got their easy ups. Everybody's all bundled up and cold, and the only people that aren't cold to make are these guys out there on them quads. We're sitting here in the booth, we're dealing with all the wind and all this moisture, and those guys are just out there having fun. It still looks like it's going to be a really fun day for these guys out there.
Hey, Rodney and I were out here at about 6:30, maybe a quarter till 7 this morning, and you want to talk about cold fingers. We were out there trying to rewire a couple items and trying to get some generators up and going. And man, oh man, you talk about frigid fingers first thing in the morning. We had extension cords, we had sound cables, we had generators, every one of them covered in water as well as we were, Rodney, and it was just absolutely crazy there this morning.
Oh man, I tell you, I couldn't explain how I have actually put so many layers on. The only thing I didn't do was layer up my hands. My hands got wet first thing this morning, and riding the ATV around, getting the towers and stuff turned on, my bone in my thumb got cold, and it still hasn't warmed up. The bone is still cold in my thumb right now.
Well, I don't doubt that, but you had me a little concerned when you walked in here at first, man. When I took a look at those gloves, man, I didn't know if you were trying to warm your hands up or if you were going to give Fred an inspection. I wasn't sure what was up with the gloves.
Well, I'll tell you, trying to keep my hands dry is what I'm trying to do, and trying to keep things dry. Well, these guys are doing the same thing out on the race course. They well prepared for this race today, and coming into this with a big championship point swing last race, if you remember correctly, Megawatt and also Fred, that Adam McGill looked like he was going to lose just a handful of points. Well, the next thing you know, he comes out of that one about 9 points down after that incident. With the motor basically going south on him with about a mile left to go, and end up having to push the bike all the way to the very end. And I tell you what, just knowing what he went through, what those race fans went through, was an amazing feat, no doubt about it. He salvaged something big, and actually Adam caught up with us earlier Friday and talked a little bit more about that.
Pretty much what I'm looking forward to up here is just getting a good start, running up front, trying to stay dry most of the day. As long as it's not cold, we should be fine, but I don't think we're going to get that lucky. So the last race was terrible. It's been 3 years in a row now that I've DNF'd New York. I don't seem to have good luck there. We definitely had a lot of fans. If it wasn't for the Mafia getting me through the finish, we probably wouldn't be in this championship fight. So the race, hats off. The race was literally won, in my opinion, from my fans and my support team. I can't thank them enough. So the only reason we're in this title fight is because of them. So hats off to all them guys, all the Mafia fans, the people that helped push. I don't know everybody's names, but thank you so much for everything the last round. And we're still in this championship fight because of you guys. So there's really no more strategy. Guess what? If it breaks, it breaks. It's to the point anymore. I'm going to go as hard as I can. I'm not saving anything anymore. Go out here and not cut this thing any slack. Hold to the stops all day, and hopefully this thing holds up.
Well, I'll tell you what, man, Adam really salvaged a lot out of that day, and, he talked about the possibility of 3 DNFs there at Unadilla, and it was almost that if it hadn't been for just pure heart and desire, getting him as far as he got, and then, of course, the fans picking up and helping him the rest of the way, I don't know that he would have been able to do that. But coming out of that one, it was a miracle. He's only 9 points behind in the championship, Fred. And like he said, man, he owes a lot to the McGill Mafia for helping make that possible. There's no doubt about it. And that's one of the great and unique things about GNCC racing, is that particular thing is actually allowed. I mean, fan assistance is allowed. And I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, Rodney, for sure. If it wouldn't have been for his fan base that he has built by being such a good guy, he always thanks his fans. He's got the Mafia stuff out there. His race would have ended, and he would have had another DNF. But what we need to do right now, how about our Twitter contest, Rodney? Last week we talked about the Twitter at Unadilla, and I had the Twitter perfect all the way till the finish, till that bad luck hit Adam McGill. So we need our fans out there today to try their luck at the Twitter. Pick your top 3 overall, who you think it's going to be. Tweet it in to
hashtag.
us. It doesn't, hashtag. It doesn't matter
Live.
who it is, how it is, just you got to play to win.
That's it. And I tell you, if you look at it right now, we're looking at deja vu from what we saw just a year ago. Walker Fowler, Adam McGill, Bryce Neal, 1, 2, and 3 on the podium right now. As we look back to the number 4 spot, Jay Shadron rounding out the top 5. Britt Sturdyvan, the Cobra, Sneaky Snake, a.k.a. we call him, the number 4, Jared McClure, who's now 3rd in points up in the 6th place position. Brian Wolfe, whom I somehow or another missed there in the starting lineup, running in the number 7 spot. Chris Borge is back in 8th. The Coltrane, your XC2 Pro-Am class leader, Cole Richardson running in 9th. Josh Merritt is rounding out the top 10 there as we check in with the overall here after lap 1. Working on lap number 2 now, and as we can see, the visibility not the best in the world, a little bit of low clouds, if you will, some cloud cover or fog up here on the mountaintops. It's not that you can't see, but you know, it's not, you don't have the visibility that you would normally have. A misty rain, wind here on top of the hill. The wind's not so bad down in the valleys and stuff, but all in all, this race is going to be a challenging one, I think, Fred Andrews.
Yeah, Rodney, like we said earlier, you've got the coldness to deal with, you've got the weather, you've got the mud, you've got the pressure that these guys have got on themselves, because now the points are down to whoever wins the most races from here on out is going to be the champion. So they're all here to win races and to get this year over with. You know, last week or 2 weeks ago, you know, Adam McGill looked like, you know, it was all good and good, but it showed you that anything can happen at these races. It's never over till the finish line.
It most certainly is not over till the checker flags come out, for sure, as we know that and have seen that time and time again in GNCC racing. And as a matter of fact, we're going to see how things are shaping up here in just a moment when we come back here on GNCC Live. Right now, it's Walker Fowler, Adam.
General RV is going to help you go camping with locations across the nation and thousands of RVs to choose from. General RV is the nation's largest family-owned RV dealer. At General RV, you'll save thousands on everything from trailers that sleep the whole family right up to motorhomes that are amazing and so economical to travel in. General RV is the only dealer who can show you this much and save you this much. With a great deal from General RV, you'll discover how much fun camping can be.
I'm a sore loser.
I'm a sore loser. Losing is not an option for me.
Be the best.
The best? The best.
You have to have the best equipment under the hood.
That's why I
only use
Cometic products in my engines.
Cometic gasket.
Cometic gasket.
Cometic gasket.
Cometic gasket, a superior quality gasket
For those of us who demand the highest level of performance.
And welcome back to GNCC Live here from Mountain Ridge ATV Resort for the CarMate Custom Trailers. Mountain Ridge GNCC. It's a little cold out. Got things firing a little off kilter for me today. I'll tell you that much, Fred. But amazingly, these riders do not seem to be off kilter. Walker Fowler, Adam McGill, Bryson Neal running 1, 2, and 3. There's only 10 seconds separating McGill and Fowler right now, and 33 seconds back to Neal. Jay Chandron, who's from Mount Pleasant, PA, and quite a strong mud or rock rider, I should say, a second and a half behind Bryson Neal. So that nose-to-tail battling, I'm sure, is continuing. We're going to pick up with that here, I think, somewhere near the 5-mile marker here in just a couple of moments, as we are about 35 minutes, 34:15 now into this race, and we are waiting patiently for our leaders.
Yeah, Ron, as you can see right here out in the open, you know, it looks like it's a little bit moist and muddy, but the earlier shot of these guys being in the woods, the track looks like it could not be any better in the woods. It looked like the rocks are starting to come up, but the dirt looked like it was really nice, and it was two different kind of animals here.
There were a couple of variables, honestly, Fred, that helped play into making the rain not a bad thing here at Mountain Ridge. Number one, lots of rocks. And secondly, there hasn't been a lot of rain up in this region, so it was very dry. And talking with the track crew on Wednesday, it said, Barry Hawk said, you know, the rain that we're getting, he said, we're getting some rain, he said, but I'll tell you, the rain's welcome. We could use every bit that we can get, because had it not rained, it's been a dusty mess up here, and we could have seen maybe a whole different style scenario of racing, but regardless, I think the track crew is much more satisfied with these conditions.
Yeah, the GNCC crew did a great job, as you can see from the pictures, that we've got a little bit of mud, but nothing. I mean, the dust is a lot worse to deal with for your air filters, for your ride, and even for safety reasons. You know, with the mud, it's a lot better. There's nothing in the air people can see, and I kind of really think that wood section is really, really good. I know there's a lot more probably woods than there is open out here, so I think these guys are going to get better and better as the day goes on.
I think you're right, Fred Andrews, and as the day does wear on here, let's check in with a couple of other classes real quick for us so we can see how the stage is starting to set. The XC2 Pro-Am in particular. Cole Richardson, the Cole train, is rolling. He's running top 10 position overall, as well as leading by 48 seconds over Marty Christofferson, the number 18. He's a true New York mountain man. I don't know if you've ever seen this dude, but he's got the biggest beard of anybody I've ever seen in my life. A.J. Kuntz, Thomas Kuntz is what he's listed under, but A.J. Kuntz, the number 45, is running third out of Fayetteville, Pennsylvania. Another strong rider, another strong rock rider. Actually, A.J. is a rider that can ride in any condition. If he could just get all the brakes and everything to fall in his place, I think he'd be a top contender for a win all the time. Cody Collier running fourth, and fifth is Robbie Piccarori, and there is your leader out at the 5-mile marker. It is Walker Fowler blazing through here. He had about a 10-second lead over the 521 of Adam McGill about 5 miles ago at the finish, and that appears to be about the same, maybe a little bit more starting to open up there. You can tell Adam is running salvage mode, at least at this point, but in knowing and talking with him before the race, he's going to let this tater chip rip, man. There's no doubt about it. Before this finish is over, we're going to see him light this thing up, and the machine is, well, it's either going to make it or it's not. He's already made that decision, that call coming into this round. We're looking back to about a 33-second gap, and that appears to be about the same there as Bryson Neal's making his way in, but Jay Shadron, the number 9 machine, whom was only 1.5 seconds there. You see Neal playing to the camera there at the 5-mile marker as he makes his way by. Steam rolling out of that as the water splashes up there. And there is Shadron, but Shadron's got company. Here comes, is that Sturdivant, the 15? That's Brian Wolfe, the number 341. He's gotten around McClure. I didn't see McClure go by. Maybe McClure snuck by us there, but there's Chris Borch also making his way by the 5-mile marker. That still puts him about the 8th place position.
Yeah, so there you go, shows Rodney. Right now there is some water laying out there these guys are splashing through. I did notice that Walker Fowler does not have goggles on anymore. So he's either, there's water that's actually hanging on those branches you're going by. As you see those guys going towards the trees, they're all ducking and turning their head away because them branches are just as bad as a bike. They slap your goggles and get water and mud all through you. So Walker Fowler's crew might be ready for some goggles in case he might need them, and he's coming by right now and out in front in some of the open grass section there. And I think Adam McGill might have lost a little bit of time, Rodney, because he did stop and get goggles. He still has goggles on, but it doesn't seem like he's really catching.
Well, the way things are going, the way the water splash up and everything, I think you're right. You might feel that he can see better at this point with all the tear-offs and roll-offs and everything are gone off of that. Here comes McGill, who still has his goggles on now and being cheered on by the race fans. Each and every one of those feel like they have a vested interest in his championship this year. The fans do, and rightfully so if you think about it, because so many folks have been behind that program for so long, and they're really digging in deep to try and help it and see a championship come through for the West Virginia native.
Yeah, Ronnie, everybody's got their pit crews out there and their fans. Walker Fowler's got his out there. Chris Borch has his out there, and every one of them is trying to help their favorite rider win a championship. There's nothing like saying, hey, I helped this guy get out of a mud hole, or I helped him, showed him a line here or there. You feel like you're part of his team, and you always want to see your guy do good. As you can see, it looks like 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th right here are like in one big group. And it looks like Chris Borch is at the end of that group. But these guys are all fighting for a position right here, and it's going to be interesting to see how close they can stay with all this mud flying around, Rodney, because you got to worry about your goggles. You got to worry about your radiators clogging up, too, on these bikes.
No doubt. And there go our top riders we've seen. I think I did see McClure in that mix of riders that were rolling through just a moment ago. And to just expand a little more on what we were talking about and fan involvement and how it feels, I'll tell you, 1988 Blackwater, my cousin told me stories about it for years before I ever met the actual Blackwater winner of 1988, Timmy Coombs. But I can remember hearing the stories about the 93 River Cross and how he helped Timmy Coombs pick a line, and he thought that was just the greatest thing. I helped the winner that day. I helped the winner that day. And I remember one time I was hanging with Timmy Coombs, and I called my cousin up. I said, you remember 1988 Blackwater? Well, here's the champ. He had a chance to talk, but my cousin really feels that he had a lot, and rightfully
and he
so.
Does. He does,
sure
right?
did.
If it wouldn't have been for him knowing that good line, Timmy, he may have taken a wrong run and watered out. So, I was a racer myself. We do owe a lot to the fans. You might think that you're not important, but when we get to some bad situations like that, it's great to have somebody lap after lap helping you out. That's one less worry you have on the track.
Amen. And right now, not a lot of worries on this track. As we said, a light, misty rain falling. Conditions really not that bad. Just a little sloppy on top right now, and racing action continues without any issues whatsoever at the moment, as we are 41 minutes now into this race. Walker Fowler, Adam McGill, Bryson Neal, Jay Shadron, and Brent Sturdivant, your top 5 there. The 15 machine we saw checking in just a little bit ago, and a very good shot. Now, I want you to take a look at this right here. See the branches? That right there is a good indication of what you were talking about. The water hanging in that and the mud and stuff you were talking about a few moments ago.
Yeah, Rodney, if you go in there and hit it with your face, boom, you get all that mud on you. So that's something else. Now you've got more obstacles to worry about out there. You've got to watch all the trees. The arrows are all covered with mud. But by now the track's burned in, you know, so you know where you're going. But it just goes to show you that mud flies everywhere.
It sure does, and exactly, that's a very beautiful shot, as a matter of fact, kind of a great indication of what GNCC is like on a day like today, as we are nearing the completion of lap number 2 now. We're about 3.5 minutes out from when we should see those riders checking in. I'm not sure if lap 2 is a little longer than lap 1 or not. Generally it is, so sometimes we can see a minute to 3 minutes longer on laps, but we should, within the next 5 minutes, be anticipating seeing the leaders make their way here near the finish line.
Here, and as you can see here, we've got some double lines going up all these uphills, so if one line would get bad and people would get stuck on it, these guys can blaze off to the right and climb the hill. And like we're talking about, these quads are more or less just polishing this track up. They're not really digging down deep into it because it's such a hard rock base and this ground's so solid. So we're really not worried about the track rutting out and getting worse. It's more just getting polished and slick. And with the rain coming down, the moisture in the air, man, these hills have got to be slippery.
Well, I tell you, Hurricane Joaquin is blowing off to our east, but fortunately we're not getting the brunt of it right now. And, you know, there were a lot of indications that we could have seen a lot worse conditions than what we are looking at heading into this round. So honestly, we've been kind of blessed from the moisture standpoint, and it's made for what I would consider kind of an old school GNCC, Fred. And you've been around since the early 90s, mid 90s or so. And speaking of old school, I mean, this is kind of old school. I mean, the rocks that we see here in Pennsylvania and the cold temperatures that we're feeling right now, I mean, these are the kind of things that take you back, I'm sure.
Oh yeah, Rodney, and I think we got spoiled. You know, we had such a great summer, the weather was so good, and it's not that this is bad, it's just we're not used to this weather, so it seems really bad for us. You know, we're used to being sunshine and hanging out and talking. Well, this is what GNCC racing is. You know, we can do the elements, we can do the rain, we can do the cold, we can do the mud. We were just hoping it wouldn't happen this weekend. We thought maybe later on, but no, it's good because it makes everything more challenging than what it normally is. You know, it's not your dry, just go around the track race. It's going to be changing. There's mud, there's hills, there's rocks, it's cold, it's nasty. This brings out the real true champion of the animal, and you know, this shows how bad you really want to do it. It
does, and as Dean Van Leeuwen says, one of our dudes around here pretty much puts this whole show together from a visual standpoint. He says it's just getting us ready for the last 2 rounds when it gets cold over in St. Clairsville and at the Ironman.
Yeah, Rodney, too. Those races, that could be dusty next weekend, because I live in Ohio and we're short on rain over there. So you never know what Mother Nature's going to bring us, if we're going to get another storm or not. But one thing's for sure, whatever heads our way, we can deal with it and we'll make the best of it, and we'll move on to the next round.
Mud, guts, and glory, brother.
The checkered flag.
That's it. That is it. Mud, guts, and glory, the checkered flag. And Walker Fowler showing plenty of guts and looking for the glory right now. Fowler leading by some now nearly 15 seconds over the number 521 of McGill Mafia's Adam McGill from West Union, West Virginia. 2 races ago, or at the beginning of the race, and at this point in the race 2 weeks ago, Adam McGill had about a 10-point lead himself over Walker Fowler, and the amazing point swing that we saw take place and transpire there to turn this championship around. And you know, that was a bad time for things to happen like that with Adam McGill. When you look at historical results from Walker Fowler, these final races have been races that he's been tough to be beat at here.
Yeah, I think Walker Fowler's like me. We're both from Ohio. Next race is in Ohio, so you're going to have even more drive and more confidence and feel like you can get your job done. And then Indiana is such a fun race because it's the last race of the year. It's in the big fields and cornfields, and there's a ton of people at that race. So it's kind of like being home there too, because there's so many fans, and it is the last race, so everybody's got a little bit more excitement because you want to end the year on a great note. Everybody wants to win last race and then carry that over into their sponsors to let everybody know, that's the last impression they have of you for the year, moving on into the new year.
That's right, and leaders should be checking in here shortly, so we should be seeing them in this long stretch heading to the finish line. Just a couple of historical notes for you. This is the 7th running of the Mountain Ridge GNCC, and Chris Borch won the inaugural ATV race here. He also won the first 4 races on the ATV here at Mountain Ridge. And Adam McGill has never won this race, but has finished on the podium 4 times throughout the course of the history here. Walker Fowler has won here. He's only won once here, and that was here last year, his first time as an XC1 Pro on this track, just about a year or so ago from what we're talking about now. Now this season, other than a 71st place position at Limestone and 7th place at Steel Creek, Walker Fowler has finished on the podium every time in 2015. So this is a pretty good statistic. Under a lot of circumstances, it might be enough to keep you out of a championship running, but those 4 wins that Walker Fowler has amassed this year has been one thing that has helped him out, and the fact that Adam McGill has finished 3 9th-place finishes here in 2015.
Looks like Walker Fowler here coming into the pit area, Rodney, not to cut you off on saying about his accomplishments up to now, but you can see he's coming through here. He's kind of looking over his shoulder to see if Adam McGill's anywhere in sight, and he still has his goggles off, so his pit crew might be ready for that, but you can see he's having no trouble getting around there right now. He's doing his best job to get in and out of these corners as quick and as cleanly as he can.
Well, Fowler making his way in to complete lap number 2 now, and according to timing and scoring, a lap time of 24 minutes and 42 seconds, so about a minute and a half longer lap that time around, so there was a little more length on the track that time. Here comes McGill in. It was 9.015 seconds behind at the end of lap 1. At the end of lap 2, I think that stretched out now to 18.6 seconds between first and second. And there's the pit stop. Fowler going in not only for goggles, but looks like some gas, Fred.
Yeah, he's doing the right thing. He needs goggles for sure, and if you stop for goggles, you might as well top it off with gas. Right now we're 12 minutes short of being an hour, so I'm not sure if he's going to have to stop again or not, but the good thing is those guys can check the dump can, see how much gas they have in it, and they can figure out if he's going to need to again, but my guess is probably not. And here's Adam McGill. He's doing the same thing. 2 laps, you got to get some fuel. He's getting some fuel, getting some new goggles. You can see he used a fair amount of gas there,
Yeah,
Rodney.
he did. That's what I was going to point out. One thing we might want to note also, you look at down Pro Row right there, you see 1 easy up. The reason folks don't have their awnings and tents and setups out the professional look is because the wind is just so wicked up here. It's blowing a lot of that stuff around. As you can see in the background, some of that. You can see our finish line structure got taken out by one of the other structures that was here. It actually got blown. A 20 by 20 tent got blew up, flipped over this morning during the youth race, and actually landed on the finish line. So the winds are kind of gusty, and the Pro Row has elected not to put their setups out there, and rightfully so, as we see now.
This is a busy time of the race right now, Rod. Look at all the guys coming in Pro Row. Everybody's stopping for gas. The pit crew's filling them up, getting them goggles. I've seen a few of them spraying the radiators off, with the water system to help keep those clean and keep the bikes running cool.
So it is Walker Fowler leading Adam McGill 18.6 seconds, another 45 seconds back to Jay Shadron, who is now in the 3rd place position. A second and a half behind him is Bryson Neal. The lap time difference 25.02 and 25.05 between those 2 particular riders, so they're running very consistent laps. 3.6 seconds behind them is a hard-charging Brian Wolfe, who turned to 25.01. He's closed up quite a bit of a gap on that lap. Jared McClure, the old sneaky snake himself, 25.06 is 6. Chris Borch holding steady back in the number 7 position aboard the number 1, turning a 25.04. Josh Merritt, the number 13. He's about 50 seconds back in the 8th spot. Brent Sturdybank now drops to the number 9 spot. And rounding out the top 10, we are still waiting on the 10th place position rider to check in, I believe, as we've only got the top 9 in. I believe 10th place will be checking in about right now, as a matter of fact. So there they are. It is XC2 Pro-Am leader Cole Richardson in 8th place. Josh Merritt drops to 9th, so that puts Brent Sturdybank in the number 10 spot overall. And still waiting on Chris Bithell to check in, but he does not yet. Landon Wolfe gets around him now as he takes 10th in the class over. Don't know what happened to Pennsylvania's Chris Bithell, but a tough break there for CB7. See the trees, or the trees swaying in the background. You've got a lot of the weeds up here on top of the hill. Now you go down off the top of the hill, the mountain here, if you will, down into some of these rock garden areas and the wooded sections. You can see it's not nearly as windy. Still a little bit on the moist side, no doubt.
And look at the action, Rodney. Look how much that bike his quad is moving around as he comes through there. There's so many rocks in there. That bike is just really putting the suspension to the test. It's bumping all around. That's what we're talking about, trying to pick good lines out there, to try to miss some of them rocks. But in that situation there was just so many of them. Those guys that just try to get through that part and then race where they can.
I believe it's Crazy K we're watching right there. Kevin Yoho making his way in and around, and as he makes his way in, that should put him into the number 13 spot behind Johnny Gallagher, who runs 12th. Chris Bithell in 11th. Wolfe is 10th. 9th is Brent Sturdivant Mare. 8th, Borich in 7th. Jared McClure is 6th. Brian Wolfe in 5th. Bryson Neal 4th. Jay Shadron 3rd. Adam McGill 2nd. Walker Fowler leads this one after 2. GNCC Live continues after this. And welcome back to GNCC Live from Mountain Ridge ATV Resort here in beautiful Pennsylvania. I can't really remember what the name of the town. It goes from Somerset, it goes to Oil City or Junction City or something like that. But regardless, we are here in Pennsylvania. It is, this year, we are calling it Somerset, PA, okay?
Central City, PA.
Central City. There's two different things there to tell us. So regardless, all around the area, Somerset, Central City, Chuck Master, we saw there on the video, was making his way around with some of the crew as they went and did some school visits. In the process, they literally go out and they not only promote GNCC, safe riding and things like that, but also bullying aspects and just generally being an all-around good individual. And, you know, they take a lot of different riders. Sometimes they even have a chance to take youth riders, like what race out here at 8 o'clock in the morning. You know, believe it or not, with the winds blowing extremely the way they were last night and the rain's falling, you know, I had folks contacting me bright and early at 6:30 this morning. Rodney, are they going to cancel the race? And I'm like, you know, it's really not that bad. It just seems like it is. Once you step out, it's not all that bad. And we went racing at 8 o'clock this morning. Boy, did we have ourselves a treat.
Hello and welcome to RacerTV's coverage of Mountain Ridge 2015. We're here with this morning's winner. One more time, it's Ronnie Rush. Ronnie, back in action. I know you're extremely cold, man. Tell us a little bit about the race real quick.
Well, I did what I wanted to do, get a good start. I've been practicing them all weekend. And then I was just trying to hold a good pace for a top 9 so I can get the #1 plate. And then so happily Joey passed me and I just tried to keep my position and I started to turn it on and I got around him.
Dude, how did it feel to wrap up the championship in these conditions with a win?
It felt amazing because it's my hometown.
Awesome. Well, congratulations on a great season, man. I know you're freezing. We'll see you up on the podium in just a little bit.
All right, sounds good.
Back to you guys.
All right, thanks a lot, Megawatt. I tell you what, did you see Little Ronnie Rush's face. By the way, congratulations. You just secured the Youth National AMA National title. That is a huge thing. Now, winning the championship in his class was one thing, but he was looking for the overall national #1. He got that this morning. They presented him with that also, but did you see his face, Fred Andrews?
I wasn't sure if he was frozen solid or what it was, Rodney, but he had the craziest look on his face, and they were getting that stocking cap on him to keep him warm. And, you know, we talked a little off the show there while the commercial was going about the race today, and people were worried about racing and this, that, and the other, but when this is over with, ask these guys there when they're done racing. They're going to say they had a lot of fun. You know, it's something about going out to ride in the mud. Everybody's like, oh, man, this is going to stink, yada, yada, yada. But the track is way better than what anybody expected to be from what I see on camera here. And these guys are having fun. Anytime you can go out there and ride and have fun, it's a great time. And every one of these guys is having a blast.
And the thing about it to me, I think these are the memory-making races, if you want to know the truth, Fred. Yeah, I mean, you know, you race a lot of perfect condition races, there's no doubt about it. And you race a lot of mud races, but something about the ones that kind of stick out, the cold, wet, windy ones, this one's going to stick out in somebody's mind for a long, long time. And there's going to be a lot of stories that I believe that come from this one. Some good, some not so good, but regardless, they're all going to be told with a big smile, I promise you.
Yeah, Rodney, I agree 100%. You know, today's like today, you know, with it being all these different conditions, people are going to remember it. And I just think the track's actually getting better and better as the day goes on. You're sure the rocks are getting slipperier, but they can only get so slippery. The track can't really get eaten up any more than it already is. And these guys are actually getting around this thing really good, and they're not getting as muddy as what they normally will. So I think they're all having a good time, and it's going to be exciting to see how close these groups stay. You know, the first and second were 15 seconds or so apart that second lap, but third, fourth, fifth, and sixth, all those guys are really close, and that's where the racing's going to happen. And with all these different lines we got out there, there's going to be I expect some changes to go on next time we see them, Rodney.
No doubt. There are a lot of lines, and like you say, these conditions warrant a lot of changes, I think, because bottlenecks begin to develop and appear, and things get in the way, and like you say, some of the track markers get knocked down or mudded over, and it's hard to see sometimes, so you venture a little further off course. So the track starts to widen a lot in a lot of different places, and that creates, like you say, a whole lot of room for changes to take place, and that's what we're waiting for right now out near this 5-mile markers where we're watching riders. We're about 13.5 minutes out from lap 3 complete. We're also approaching the 59-minute mark, and basically the midway point of this race, if you will. And time to take a look at our Mid-State Chevrolet Midway Report. It's all brought to you by Mid-State Chevy and located in the heart of West Virginia at the Flatwood exit there off I-79. Taking a look at the situation right now as far as the overall is concerned, we've told you it's Fowler, McGill, Shadron now in third. Bryson Neal is fourth. Brian Wolfe rounding out your top 5 with Jared McClure sixth. Chris Borich in seventh. Cole Richardson, your XC2 Pro-Am class leader in eighth. Josh Merritt ninth. Brent Sturdivant rounds out the top 10. 11th is LW Landon Wolfe. If I'm not mistaken, I think he may have gotten a hole shot. Chris Biffle in 12th. Johnny Gallagher 13th. Marty Christopherson, XC2 Pro-Am, second place is third. Cody Collier's moved into third in the XC2 Pro-Am, is 15th overall. AJ Kuntz is 16th. Kevin Yoho 17th. Randy Hamilton, the number 20 and 18th. James Green is 19th aboard the number 22. Bryson Hops rounds out your top 20 overall. As far as top amateur honors right now, it's being battled out between top college age 16 to 24-year-old riders, Wesley Wolfe and Kenny Schick. And right now, Wesley Wolfe is looking at 27th place overall on board the number 741 out of Myersville, Maryland. He has a minute and 24-second lead over Newcastle, Pennsylvania's Kenny Schick, the number 73, who's 28th. So they're running 27th and 28th right now. That's the battle for top amateur honors here in our ATV racing. As we go to the XC2 Pro-Am quickly, Cole Richardson, Marty Christopherson, Cody Collier 1, 2, and 3. It is AJ Kuntz in 4th, Randy Hamilton in 5th, James Green is 6th, Bryson Hops in 7th. 8th place at 28 is Levi Cohen. 9th place Cameron Bruce, and rounding out the top 10 is Robbie Pickle-Rory, and I think he was running top 5 there at the end of that first lap, so some changes taking place there. College A class, they're running 27th and 28th overall. 741, Wesley Wolfe leading the 73 of Kenny Schick. A minute and 24 seconds separate those two, but then only 4 seconds back to the 4:06 of Devin Fionn out of Windsor, New York, who runs third. Fourth place, the 48 of Christian Meyer out of Oldenburg, Indiana. Fifth place, 701, Greg Covert from Ithaca, New York. Sixth place is Brandon Eichert out of Hickory, North Carolina, the 441. Seventh place, 721, Drew Landers out of Monterey, Tennessee. Is this our leaders coming through? It is. Walker Fowler out here near the 5-mile marker now on board the number 2. You see him getting around some of that lap traffic. Got those goggles on now, Fred Andrews.
He sure does, Rodney. You know, and that's got to help. You know, you can, with this mist in the air, that mist is hitting the goggles. He doesn't have to worry about those branches hitting him in the face. And as you can see, he got around that lapper as quick as he could. And I got a clock on him right now, Rodney, to see what the gap is, to see if Adam McGill's catching or losing any right now. And it's 20 seconds right now, and it's going to be about 25 seconds behind, so it looks like Walker's actually put a few seconds on him, which, you know, that only takes one lapper, Rodney, to do that. So
yep.
I would say they're kind of staying about the same.
I don't doubt that a bit. So we can see there that things we'll be watching for the third place position finish or riders right now. We got a good battle going on there with Jay Shadron and Bryson Neal as we continue with our Mid-State Chevy Midway report. Wolf, Schick, Feehan, Meyer, Covert is 5th in the College A class. Brandon Eichert is 6th. Drew Landers running in the number 7 spot aboard the 721. 8th place, the 707, Anthony Barnes. 9th place, the 24 of Kevin McCohen. And rounding out the top 10, the 602 of Noah Landis. There's the number 4 of the Cobra checking in now, it looks like, at the 5-mile marker as we check.
I believe, Rodney, he's in 3rd place right now.
Nuh-uh.
Yep. Unless I missed him, but I've been watching pretty good. I think that he's now moved up. He's Cobra strike.
The Cobra strikes again. We'll double check that as they get closer to the end, but I think you may be right there, Fred. Oh, mercy.
See that, Rodney? Them guys are charging to them rocks hard, and Kylo Crooked just about ending his day, but man, he's back and going.
Wow, that is some intensity we're seeing here out here at the 5-mile marker. Just 4 XC1 Pro riders together out near the 6-mile marker now. Here comes, that is again the number 2 of Walker Fowler. And about 25 seconds back will then be Adam McGill. I'm going to run through these classes. Doug Lloyd leading the Junior A class. Welcome back, Doug. Glad to have you back. He's out of Bedford, Virginia. The 706, Dwight Pollard, is 2nd. Nathan Hornacek in 3rd. Steve Covert, the 702, in 4th. Josh Beach rounds out your top 5 in the Junior A 22-plus class. Simon Bissell, Robert Heckman, Matthew King, Cody Moffett, and looks like Dustin Piggott rounding out the top 10. There's McGill checking in now.
30 seconds, Rodney. 30 seconds behind Walker Fowler now.
The Bet A 28-plus class, Corbin Knox leading Matt Hanna now, a minute and 11 and a half seconds. Corbin, I believe, is the husband to Angel Knox, who is our women's champion there. Matt Pierce, the 939, is running 3rd. Jeff Pickens in 4th, who is the husband of a former 9-time women's champ, Tracy Pickens. The 17 is Pickens Jeffrey in 4th. Then we got Dustin Hendershot in 5th, Wesley Stone in 6th, Justin Eddy in 7th, Mark Cassell is 8th, Kenneth Kelly is 9th. That's your Bet A class. Senior AB class, Mark Batson leading Andy Cooper. That's it by a lap and 5 seconds, it looks like now.
Yep, and there's the Cobra, Rodney. He's in 3rd place for sure. I didn't see anybody else come through, so he has struck the crowd and passed those guys on up, and he's actually starting to pull away from that little pack we had right there.
Well, I'm telling you, with the intensity he's riding at, I wouldn't be surprised if he didn't catch those guys up front, to be honest with you. As we look at the College B 16 to 21-year-old class, Blake Meyer, Joseph Yerrickson, looks like Nicholas Mastranger, Braden Schick, Tanner Walker, your top 5. Brandon Barnes in 6th, Frankie Gress 7th, Jeremy Hill is 8th, Tyler Krill 9th, Chandler Berner rounds out your top 10. That was your College B. Junior B 22-plus class, Chris Siriana is your leader over Cody Wolford, 23 seconds, and Brian Felicki is 3rd with 2 laps complete. Still working on 2 laps is Brett Fike in 4th, Robert Mapp in the number 5 spot. And I believe your Vet B class, Todd Muscala, the Marlboro man. 42-second lead over Adam Reed in 2nd. Jeremy Gouchard is running 3rd. 4th place is Dale Batson. Craig Wilson rounds out your top 5. And that rounds out our Mid-State Chevy Midway report. Be sure and check out the home of your new car trucker, man, at midstatechevy.com on the World Wide Web. They stack them deep, sell them cheap. Well, Fred Andrews, I tell you, big changes taking place so far, it appears, on this particular lap of racing. As we have noted visually, we have seen the Cobra striking him. We talk about that so much. McClure was running 6th, 7th place position there on lap 1 at the end of lap 2. He was running 6th. He's gotten around Brian Wolfe, Bryson Neal, and Jay Shadron now to take over the number 3 spot as we watch here out near the 5-mile marker and the 6-mile marker.
Yeah, Rodney, he made a good pass somewhere out there on the track where those guys all got hung up maybe in a rocky section and somebody got stuck and he didn't follow him and went around him or something, but he's definitely on the move right now, going from 6th up into 3rd place.
Well, we've seen the intensity at which Jay Shadron and Bryson Neal were riding with. We saw Neal nearly spill it over out there in that wooded section and those rocks out there, so we know it's not from a lack of trying, that's for sure. They're trying to make up for lost ground, it looks like right now.
Yeah, you know, like you said, in those rocky sections like that, anything can happen. Puts them sideways, they lose some time. But, you know, after last week's race when the Cobra got another 3rd place, so his confidence is really riding high, Rodney. You know, he's been on the podium again. He likes being up there, so he's going to try to do whatever he can to get back up there.
And remember, he won in the rocky, rainy conditions of Snowshoe GNCC, and he is on fire. He's riding like he rode there at Snowshoe, if you want to know the truth.
Yeah, Rodney, and this place is kind of like Snowshoe without the big mountains, you know. It's kind of rooty, and there's a giant rocks and big rock gardens, and it's wet. So this is kind of like it without the big hills, so maybe that's playing to his advantage. Maybe he's got that perfect setup of the quad from Snowshoe, and he's using it here.
No doubt. We just saw the 12 of Kevin Yoho going through. He is your 17th overall place rider right now. I think he's actually about 13th or so in the XC1 Pro class that we're seeing on the track. Watching the 5 and 6 mile marker now here on lap 3, pushing an hour and 8 minutes into this one. Reminding you once again, if you have not done so, tweet your podium prediction finishes and hashtag them GNCC Live for a chance to win $250 in Sweet Amsoil product. You don't have to be right, you just got to get it in. Hashtag GNCC Live. Winner will be chosen randomly and announced at the end of today's race. Well, what we're watching right here, Fred Andrews, is near the 10-mile marker, and this is the end of the lap, basically. A couple more turns, and they make their way into the finish line chicanes where Ricky Towery awaits them. And this open field section up here is actually looking pretty good. You were talking about being polished and everything. I got to wonder, these type of conditions like this, is it going to be a challenge for the two-wheelers tomorrow with it being polished off like that?
Yeah, Ron, and these guys are actually going to polish it off some, but as you can see, they're pushing all that dirt to the outsides, and they're getting them nice berms like a two-wheeler like. So they're actually helping in some ways. I mean, they're not hurting anything for sure because they're polishing off all that loose dirt. So these guys are going to ride the outsides a little bit, squaring the corners, going up inside, outside. The biggest difference for the bikes tomorrow, Rodney, is going to be those roots that we are seeing. You know, you see these quads go through the woods, and they got four wheels on the ground. They just power right over all those roots. Where a bike now, those guys got to be a little bit more cautious and pick their lines good, because if you hit a root crooked on a motorcycle, your front wheel is going to follow the root, and boom, you're going to hit the tree or crash. Where a quad kind of has two in the front, so it can just skate over them. So that's really a advantage between each other. But the big disadvantage for a quad is these guys can't find a smooth line. These guys are wide. They got to hit all the bumps. Where a motorcycle can kind of pick and choose. But these quad guys are tough, Rodney. They just got to grit it and bear it over all them bumps.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. There is no smooth line for an ATV out there. But I was just sitting and wondering about that. I guess tomorrow that means that these guys on the two-wheel side of things are really going to have to be creative in their line choices just to try to get in some of those areas, especially where the roots are exposed, try to find some soil out there, some unexposed roots that they can ride over without any issues. Yeah,
Rodney, for sure. That's where they're going to be picking some lines. They can cut through some trees a little bit more than what the quads can, because the ATVs guys, they're a little bit wider. They can't get through them or sneak through those little sections of the trees. But it's a good challenge. Nothing these motorcycle guys haven't done or can't handle. And the quad guys actually are probably making it a little bit better for them right now for tomorrow. With this moisture in there, I don't see that being a problem as far as making it any wetter than what it is. It's just going to be slick them first few laps, and the little guys in the morning, hopefully the fog isn't so thick for them in the morning. It'll be nice. But as you can see on the picture right there, that's perfect condition.
Yeah, and just knowing how to pick and choose your lines through there is going to be critical, like you say. Look at how many different directions the roots go in.
Yeah, you know, like I said, Rodney, you catch a route with your front wheel on a motorcycle, you're following that route and you're falling down the ground. So
you just got to be good at it. You got to be very selective in your line choices. As we said, we're watching the 5-mile marker. I'm getting a call from my mama right now, man. I don't like not answering my mama's phone calls. You know that. But an hour and 11 minutes into this race now, as we continue to see Walker Fowler, Adam Gill, the Cobra, up into the number 3 spot. Of course, we're talking about Jared McClure himself, and back behind him, the battle wages on with Bryson Neal, Brian Wolfe, also Jay Shadron, and I think Chris Borch is in that mix as well, trying to battle back there for one of those top 5 positions. And I got to say, man, I'm a little surprised that being and knowing Chris Borch's success here, I kind of expected him to be a little stronger here today. But, man, I tell you, there's a lot of guys with a head full of steam here in this late part of the season that are riding with a lot of confidence right now, Fred.
Yeah, Rodney, everybody's had all year. Everybody's got their bikes working good, and that little edge that Chris had riding his bikes the last few years, he's kind of lost that, and these guys say, hey, I've ridden with Chris all year. You know, if Chris is behind them or past them, they think, well, shoot, I passed him and beat him before. I can do it again. So they've kind of re-sparked themselves against him.
Now, no disrespect to any whatsoever, but Fred, you ran the gamut yourself. You were kind of in Chris Borch's position and shoes. You were the man to beat, so to speak. And then, as we all well know, eventually, you know, the rise up, there's also a way down. And on your decline down, what's it like, man? When do you realize that you've lost your edge, I guess you could say, or do you ever realize it actually?
Well, here comes Walker Fowler into the finish right now, running to get off that subject of me going downhill so quickly.
That's not what I mean.
No, I know what you're saying, but here's Walker Fowler coming into the pit. It looked like they got the 2-lap board out for him right now. We're an hour and 12 minutes into it, so Walker's got 2 more laps to go, so it's going to be interesting. So he's got 1 more lap, and he's going to see how his pit crew can figure out the gas situation, Rodney. Will they need to stop on that last lap or not? But we'll wait till the next lap to see that. But here comes Adam McGill. It doesn't look like he's closing up any time on Walker Fowler at all.
No, actually, I think he's remained about the same. But one thing to point out, and I'm not saying that...
Interesting thing, Walker just stopped, threw his goggles off.
Oh,
now,
he did.
If they were worried about fuel right now, Rod, they would be filling him. So they must figure out, no problem, 2 more laps. You know, we've got plenty of fuel left in you. And you can see the guy spraying water on his seat, kind of making it so he doesn't slide around very well.
25-second gap is what we saw between first and second there. And just to reiterate, I'm not saying either that Chris Borch is on his way down. I'm just saying that, you know, there comes a time...
No, I wasn't saying Chris Borch was either. I said I was.
And plus,
no, right now Chris Borch is he's had a great year all up to here. He's struggled a little bit, so he's just going to have to regroup a little bit. He's young, and even from talking with him, he's not thinking he's on a decline at all. He knows that it was just a learning year, a growing year. He's still doing the same stuff he did. He's just figuring things out, and next year he's going to come out just as strong as ever.
I think you're right. That's exactly one of the points that I was going to make right there, Fred, that I wanted to point that out, that he's not done. I don't think so. But anyway, as we roll through there, we'll just talk about the confidence level of these other riders, and you can witness it and recognize it as a rider when you start to see those guys get that confidence. Was the point that I was trying to make to you before I made you feel so
and
bad.
Even talking to him, you talk to him like me towards the end of my career. You know, I wasn't as excited about it. I knew that my day has come and gone, but when you talk with Chris Borch, no, he still has that fire burn. He still wants to be a champion again.
I can't wait till next year. It's going to be a whole different GNCC series, I think, whenever it comes down to that. Fowler, McGill, McClure. Here's the gap, 39.8 seconds back. McClure is actually riding a little bit faster lap than both your leader and second place. Walker Fowler, 25.02, a 25.09 for McGill, a 24.56. It's only 6 seconds, but time adds up, and you know, on this final lap, when lap traffic will be a little more plentiful than it has been in laps past, it could pay huge dividends for the Snake himself back there. But we got Bryson Neal in 4th. He's checked in that position now, 25 seconds behind McClure. Brian Wolfe is behind him, 16 seconds. Jay Sadron is 6th, only a second behind him, and Chris Borch less than a second behind Shadron. So Wolfe, Shadron, and Borch running nose to tail right now as Borch is trying to break into the top 5 and chase the rest of these guys. Can he chase them down? Stick around to find out. GNCC Live continues after this.
General RV is going to help you go camping with locations across the nation and thousands of RVs to choose from. General RV is the nation's largest family-owned RV dealer. At General RV, you'll save thousands on everything from trailers that sleep the whole family right up to motorhomes that are amazing and so economical to travel in. General RV is the only dealer who can show you this much and save you this much. With a great deal from General RV, you'll discover how much fun camping can be.
Back to GNCC Live here from Mountain Ridge, from the shadows of the Flight 93 Memorial just up the road in Shanksville, Pennsylvania. Rodney Tom along with Fred Andrews and Megawatt Matt Watson. And of course, as we talk about the shadows of the Flight 93 Memorial, Fred, we all remember on that dreaded day, Tuesday, September 11, 2001, when history changed forever as far as America is concerned. And those men and women fought so valiantly to thwart the attacks that were going on the United States that day, and they lost their lives here in this field. But you know, they did it with honor, there's no doubt. And for those folks, we certainly have a missing and a longing, I'm sure, from the many families, but we also appreciate everything that they gave on that day. September 1st, or September 11, 2001, and I tell you, Fred, it just always takes me back, and that's one of the things about this particular event right here. There's so many things about this race. You know, we talk about the greatness of this particular tract of land, the type of that it is. It's kind of old school. It takes you back to old school GNCC. You know, you've got the memorial just down the road and that historical significance of that. This particular place right here, I think, offers up a lot of great things. And for round 11 of GNCC Racing, it certainly has given us a lot to be watching out for here today. Already seeing the many changes that we've seen throughout the top 10. The only thing we haven't seen is the change up front between Walker Fowler and Adam McGill, but everybody else has been swapping it out quite a bit.
Yeah, Rodney, in a track like this, it throws so much stuff at you that anything can happen, and it usually does. And you can see, like from this picture here, it looks like the track is such good condition compared to what everybody expected. You know, at the beginning of the week, I seen on Twitter and all that stuff and Facebook, people were worried about the race being canceled and all sorts of that, you know, and this track is perfect out there. You know, these guys did a great job. The weather's bad, but it could be worse. We just happen to be at the right place at the right time that can handle this kind of weather.
Who's Joaquin? Who is Joaquin?
Where's he live?
Yeah, thankfully we haven't gotten a lot of that, but we do have the rain showers falling. We got GNCC Racing at its best, and we got Walker Fowler right now that is 18 minutes away from what I would assume would be a white flag. That'll put us about an hour and 40 minutes into this race, so I'm thinking that Ricky Tower's probably got the 2-lap card out, so
yes, he does.
We'll see a white flag next time that Walker Fowler makes his way by. Again, it's in about just under 18 minutes now. And talk about heroes of the day here at GNCC. Got to give it up for Ricky Towery, man. He has braved the elements all day long, stood out in that from the first start this morning, from the waving of the first green flag to that checker flag in the 8 o'clock youth race, to the waving of the checker flag in the 10 o'clock race, which we saw a lot of great racing out of, and still right out there with it all right now, Ricky Towery. So we salute you, Ricky. You are the man. And speaking of 4x4 and 10 o'clock racing, we saw some great 4x4 racing today. A lot of changes out there on the track. At one point, there was only 1.2 seconds that separated the front two, and I know Brian McCannon was really in search of a win here today.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to RacerTV's coverage of the Mountain Ridge 2015 GNCC. We're here with this morning's overall winner in our amateur race, 4x4 pro rider Michael Swift. Mike, the story of the day is the weather. Now, not the worst conditions we've ever seen, but challenging nonetheless. Tell us a little bit about your race.
Yeah, you know, it wasn't near as bad as what we thought it was going to be. The track was really good, and actually there were some spots on this starting line side that we was actually kicking some dust up on the last few laps. But, you know, it was good. There wasn't a lot of traffic. The rain was probably the hindrance on our goggles, but all in all, it wasn't as bad as we thought. The worst part was sitting on the starting line waiting for the green flag.
Yeah, I can imagine getting some cold digits and cold feet, that's for sure. Hey, you're standing here, you've got a swollen mouth, a busted nose, man. Tell us a little bit about that face plant and what happened out there.
Yeah, I think I was third or fourth off the start, and I just kind of picked my way up, and I knew I just needed to be patient, but I picked my way up into second, but Brian had a pretty good lead. And we actually walked the track yesterday and found this dip that had a tarred rock in the bottom of it, and I tried to throttle across it, and my front bumper just planted into it, stopped my bike, threw me up on the bars, and my helmet drove my lips back into my teeth. So, yeah.
Unbelievable today, Mike. Well, congratulations on a win in tough conditions, and we'll see you on the podium just shortly.
Thank you.
Yeah,
back to you guys in the studio.
All right, thanks a lot, Megawatt. Yeah, Brian Buchanan was fighting to win, but it was Michael Swift that ended up taking that one. I didn't quite get that thought completely out. But anyway, that was...
Them guys had a battle all the way to the finish on those things.
Those guys, they battle like that a lot, but man, today that was just so intense what they were doing out on the track. I love good racing, man, and those guys on those 4x4s, 800 cc's of raw power out there, man. It's great to watch them. As we're watching right now, looks like leaders should be due in about 15 minutes exactly according to scoring and timing right now, Fred. Fowler, McGill, McClure, Bryson Neal, Brian Wolfe, and Brian Wolfe back in the number 5 spot. One thing to point out about Brian, he is a former winner here at the Mountain Ridge GNCC. Actually, he won here in 2011 before we took the 2-year break and came back here again in 2014. But Wolf's got some good memories from here. He's also a good rock rider. We've seen him race well at Snowshoe. We've mentioned so many times today as we were talking about Jerry McClure. So there's another factor to throw in there. Brian Wolfe could still be pose a threat, I think, with the time that we've got left for an overall top 3 today.
Yeah, Rodney, we still got, a lap and a half left to go. Anything can happen out there today, and one thing's for sure, Brian Wolfe can ride the rocks. We've seen him win at different rock races, so his day's not over yet either. We're going to see if he can't push through to the front, but you can see there's a lot of spectators out there, Rodney, walking the track down there in the forest, and they're actually down there out of the wind. We're up here on top where the windmills are. We're still super, super windy up here. And they're down there where it looks like the wind's not so bad. So the woods, I would think, would be the place to watch the action going on for the spectators.
Lots of great places for the spectators to watch. As we're looking here at the 5-mile marker, Barry Hawk said there's a new section of racetrack where they got a creek crossing up the way just a little bit at the 7-mile marker, which is another, looks like going to be and has been a very good place to go spectate from. So we're seeing just a couple of little places for folks, and I'd say a lot of these folks that we're witnessing here are traveling back and forth between the 5 and the 7 to try to catch up with the leaders as they make their ways through. An hour and 25 minutes now into this race. Rodney Tumble along with Fred Andrews and Megawatt Matt Watson out and about. We are at the Mountain Ridge GNCC round 11 of this AMSOIL GNCC series presented by Maxxis. And just a little more than a half hour out from an expected checker flag. Actually, I'm doing the math right here, running 25-minute laps. They're due in, I think, somewhere around the hour and 40 mark, and that should put us probably about 2 hours and 5 minutes as far as racing is concerned. But I think these guys are going to need all the time in the world to get this all sorted out before the checkers today.
Yeah, Rodney, for sure. These guys are going to be getting closer. And I think that it's actually getting a little colder out. I think the wind's picked up, and my hands are starting to get cold. So I wish I was out there riding myself. Like I said, these guys are keeping warm by riding, so they're not cold at all, even though they're, you would think you need to dress warmer. The problem is when you do dress warm like that, then you overheat out there. So then you got to start drinking more fluids and all that. But if you just dress for normal conditions, your body's going to heat up to where it needs to be like it normally does, and you'll be fine. And, it's definitely picking up with the wind. I can see more fog coming in, more moisture in the air, so.
Well, just like I find it hard to believe that there was dust out there, which I believe Michael Swift, believe it, don't think I don't.
If there was, it's not anymore.
No doubt. And but I really find it hard to believe that anybody swarmed today or too warm.
Yeah, right there looks like Walker Fowler just went by, Rodney.
Yep, Fowler out here near that 5-mile marker, still maintaining a rather comfortable lead, about 25 seconds out last time we checked in with the leaders there. And
whoa, if this is Adam McGill coming, Rodney, he's closing up for sure.
Yep.
It's only about 15 seconds right now, so Adam McGill is making a push.
well, I told you that he said that he was going to ride that thing like a scalded ape whenever the end of the race came today. I kind of expected him to push harder, but I think this has been a calculated push by Adam McGill. He pushed it kind of hard there in New York, but I think that he has elected to wait till later in the race to start pushing it a little harder.
Yeah,
And
Ronnie, I mean, even if you watch him come through right there, kind of looked like Walker was kind of picking his lines and making sure he was going the smooth way. And Adam McGill, he was just freaking floored it. 10 seconds is a lot to catch up there in that little bit of time.
And like you said, lap traffic, remember, it's going to be a lot more plentiful here in these last couple of laps. They're getting more and more into the thick of things there, so the pace of this race can change pretty quickly.
And too, Rodney, you know, Adam McGill is giving it that push. If he can catch up to Walker Fowler and even see him, you don't know what that does for you mentally. That just shows you, oh, I can see him. You know, once you see him, it even gives you more excitement and energy to want to get around him.
Wow, if he gets a glimpse of what's going on there, if he catches a glimpse of the number 2, it is going to be on for the 5:21 of Adam McGill. 25-second gap now cut down to about 15 seconds between Fowler and McGill. Jared McClure still back in the number 3 spot at last check with some 40 seconds back, and here he rolls now, or is that a change again?
No, I think the old Cobra, he already went by.
Okay.
So that was Bryson Neal in 4th. The Cobra already went by, and here comes Walker Fowler again. Let's get another split time here, Rodney, to see if Adam McGill's caught or lost any.
Alrighty, so we're going to find out what the time is. These are unofficial times, but I think that we can pretty much see we're now 10 seconds have passed since Walker Fowler made his way through. There's 15. Ooh, starting to, maybe there's 20 seconds now.
Yep, he spent 25 seconds, so it's back to where it was, whether a lapper played in there like we were talking about earlier, Rodney, you know, let Walker get that lead back out, but it is about 25 seconds again right now.
That's what I had gotten as well, so wow, how quickly, it's funny how quickly things can change like that. But like you say, and like we know, anything can happen in GNCC racing. One little miscue on your line choices out there can change the face of this race in a heartbeat.
That is for sure, Rodney. Right now, like you said, we got on lap 4, we're going to have the white flag this lap, so this last lap is when it's really going to unfold. I think if Adam McGill's got anything left in the old burner, he's just going to throw all the coals he can into it, trying to get that win.
I thought we might have Megawatt Matt Watson trying to break in. That might be some audio from one of our cameras, some folks around the camera there talking. But regardless, we got the good battles underway, an hour and nearly 30 minutes into this one. Looking back to the XC2 Pro-Am, just to give you an idea of what to be looking for in that particular class right now. Richardson with a 2-minute, 21-second lead over Marty Christopherson. Another 45.5 seconds back to Cody Collier. A.J. Kuntz 43 seconds back. So, wow, you look at those gaps, Fred, there's not really a lot of close battling in that XC2 Pro-Am class, which again is not something we're used to seeing. We normally are used to seeing, even if Cole Richardson does stretch things out, it's still a good battle, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th.
Yeah, Ronnie, I agree. I'm not sure what happened or why these gaps are happening like that, whether, you know, they're getting some lap guys caught up or they're just having some different kind of troubles out there, but it's definitely unusual for it to be unfolding like that.
Right now, going back to check in with the overall, I want to see how things are going for Wesley Wolfe and our folks there in the battle for the top amateur honors here today. Normally, we've seen them top 20 well before now, so I think conditions are slowing those guys down. But now Wesley Wolfe is leading by 1 minute and 53 seconds in the College A 16-21 and the top amateur overall over Devin Feehan out of Windsor, New York. Feehan has gotten around Kenny Schick. Schick's about 10 seconds behind him now. They're running 24th, 25th, and 26th overall, so they are slowly but surely inching their way up toward the top 20, it looks like there.
Yeah, you can see Rodney with the camera pans out over this field section right there. The mist is really coming in out here, but right there in the woods, man, that just looks like it's so perfect, Rodney. It's picture perfect, I guess.
Picture perfect. It looks like where I want to be right now with the way this wind's whipping through this tent right now. Oh, mercy sakes. We have a broadcast tent now. It's a great idea on a nice sunshiny day, but when the weather's inclement, I'm not so sure.
Well, I'm just glad we got sides this time, because in New York we didn't have sides and we got some rain, but at least they were thinking of us and put some sides up here to keep this wind blowing off us, because if we didn't have these sides up right now, man, it is getting windier and windier with this mist blowing in the air. It would be really that chill factor would be a lot worse.
Thank you, Dean. Dean Van Leeuwen, once again, the all-around guy that makes this basically, I think he's technical title is event coordinator, man. He makes this place pop, he makes it look good, and he makes us feel good with the walls now on the tent. It's kind of like Dean's giving us a big old hug, Fred.
Old Dean, he's always smiling, old smiley Dean.
Old smiley Dean. We're being sarcastic about that. That's a grimace, it's not a smile.
Oh, that's what he always says about me. He says, you're always grumpy, you never smile. So every time I see him now, I'm smiling.
You guys make each other happy then, I guess, huh? Hey, you know, I do want to tip my hat to the entire Racer production staff and crew. They do a great job, and in particular on days like today, Fred Andrews, the banner crew, the guys in the pits, the guys in the woods that are pulling people out of the woods and trying to get them out of those mud holes and stuff. A big tip of the hat to the GNCC crew for the efforts and the work that they put forth here.
Yeah, Rodney, for sure. You know, like, we think it's bad just sitting here broadcasting and you people out there watching. Thinking about these guys that were pounding stakes in all week long when this weather's been just like this all week. They've been pounding stakes, putting banners up, putting arrows up. Barry and Jeff have been out here. Even though they're riding around their quads, they're still out there in the element all day long.
Think about Tommy Harris, who has been running sweeps since 8 o'clock this morning.
He's in like the Million Mile Club, isn't he?
I think so, the Billion Mile Club. That's it. He is a Billion Mile Clubber probably by himself. He rides almost every lap of every GNCC as a sweep rider, starting with the youth at 8 o'clock, the 10 o'clock race, and the 1 o'clock. And if there's a micro race like what we have or a UTV race, he's out riding it as well. So Tommy Harris, definitely a man of the GNCC, one of the toughest.
There's definitely a lot of pieces to this puzzle, which makes GNCC the premier racing in the country and in the world. You know, you got to have all the right pieces in there. It seems like GNCC has that, and we put on such a great event. It's really cool.
You know, and what I think is neat, I mean, we've got a lot of talents here. You've got, you look at it, Barry Hawk, who's an 8-time GNCC champion, one of the winningest GNCC riders. He's junior trail boss. Jeff Russell, former national enduro champion. He's the trail boss out here at this thing. What's really cool is he just became his son helped put him in the history books last week whenever Caleb Russell clinched the National Enduro Championship there just a week ago, I guess it was. So that is the first father-son duo to ever win the National Enduro title, from what I understand. So congratulations to those two for sure.
And also, too, Caleb is also the first rider to win the GNCC and the National Enduro the same year.
Oh, really? I was thinking, I know that Charlie Mullins was certainly trying.
Charlie came close to 1 year, and I think he got hurt or something happened, but he was definitely on par to do it. But Caleb is the first one to actually do it, and it was kind of neat. You know, JR went out there and watched Caleb win his Enduro Championship because, you know, Jeff, he's a past champion, like you said, knows how special it is, and it's cool to see a father and son do that. And you're right, I don't think it's ever been done before.
Yeah, and congratulations also to Caleb, as I understand that they welcomed the new Bundle of Joy in earlier this week, and from what I understand, Cruz Keys is Russell. Cruz Keys Russell. So welcome to the world, Cruz. And speaking of cruising out here at the 5-mile marker, we got a lot of guys cruising by, a lot of guys trying to cruise to the finish line. Walker Fowler being the man that's trying to cruise to the finish and take the win here. Walker had a 25-second lead over Adam McGill. We saw it shrink down as much as 15 seconds, but back up to the 25 seconds at last check near the 6-mile marker. Leaders, according to timing and scoring, due in about 2 minutes, Fred Andrews.
Wow. 2 minutes, white flag, and then it's going to be all or nothing for Adam McGill. He's going to have to really push to catch up to Walker Fowler. As we see, they're actually staying the same distance, even though Adam caught a little bit. Maybe it was a lapper or something because Walker stretched it back out to 25 seconds. So if he's going to make it happen, he's going to have to really let her hang this last lap. But on the flip side, Rodney, if he does that, he's taking more of a chance to have some kind of mechanical problem too. You know, them rocks are growing out there a little bit. So even though he pushes it, you can only push it so hard. You got to think of saving your machine, because if you don't get any points today, then you're in real trouble.
Right, exactly. And, you know, you got to start thinking like that at this particular point. And there's only 3 rounds of racing left to go. After today, there will only be 2. So this is one of those days, Fred. I mean, he comes into this with 9 points down. We're talking about Adam McGill right now. 9 points down behind Walker Fowler. What is your mindset on this one? Do you push it, like you say, chance it, or do you not? I mean, I'm with you. I mean, there's still 2 rounds to go. You got, I guess, got to roll your dice and hope for something to happen later.
Yeah,
I
I think you almost got to go with your gut feeling. If you're out there and things are feeling good and you're rolling forward, I think he's just going to keep on going. But, you know, if he catches one bad situation, he almost crashes or something, he may settle down and just settle for a second, because you still got 2 more races to make things happen. But I think it's more of a gut call. Adam McGill's just going to have to see how he feels.
Well, I tell you, he's been doing quite well following his gut as of late, that's for sure. It's got him to where he is right now as Walker Fowler makes his way through some of that lap traffic that we're talking about, winding his way here to the finish line region out near the 10-mile marker now.
And gets a quick look over to his left to see if Adam McGill's anywhere in sight.
Well, we talked about the possibility if Adam McGill could get into sight of Walker Fowler, what kind of an inspiration that would be. But, man, Walker Fowler's inspired himself as he is on his way to trying to win this one 2 years in a row. The white flag waves for Walker Fowler as he makes his way in here to the finish line. Last time around a 25:02, this time around a 25:27. So we did see him slow down a little bit, and here comes the 5:21 of Adam McGill now. As he's going to check in, he's coming in, it seems like, with a lot more intensity, Fred.
Well, there's Walker Fowler now throwing off his goggles. He's going to stop again, it looks like, Rodney, for some fresh goggles. He's got a little bit of time, 25 seconds. So
no, 18
he's not
seconds.
so worried. He's got his hands in the bucket there, so he must be got some mud. Either that or he's just trying to warm them up. I'm not sure, but it looked like it was hot because there was steam coming off of it.
Wow, so that was only about 4 or 5 seconds that Adam McGill was able to gain on. Look
Adam
at
McGill looks like he's, you know, with that pit stop like that, Rodney, he's definitely caught up some.
Yes, he has. And there is the snake, the cobra, all ready to strike again, my friends, as he's now pulled to within, I'm thinking, probably closer to a 30-second range. Maybe not. Let's see as they wind around these last few turns. He was 39 seconds. He might have lost some time. I'm not sure, but I know that McClure is riding with some intensity of his own right now. Walker Fowler, I'm sure, is going to have to pick up that intensity quite a bit here on this final lap, because he knows that Adam McGill is coming with a fury, or at least he's thinking that McGill's coming with a fury. Now, what about the gap? I think that it did open up. It looked like, I thought that he was rounding the final turn there about 30 seconds ago, but that was now opened up to 59.9 seconds. So call it 1 minute between McGill and McClure now. So it's basically, can Adam McGill chip away that 18-second lead that Walker Fowler has over him heading into this final lap right now?
You know, Rodney, too, I kind of questioned Walker coming in. If that was warm water and his hands were cold, you get him in there and you get him warm, but then when you take back off, I think that your hands would get colder quicker.
I have to think that you're right. I don't know what the logic behind that would be other than getting the mud off your gloves. You would almost have to think, though, that if that was the case, they would get new gloves rather than try to wash those off, unless, of course, he's so used to and his hands aren't really bothering him, he just wanted the mud off, then maybe it's not a big deal. Check this out. Some changes going on. Bryson Neal running in 4th place. He's 17 seconds back, but 2.9 seconds behind him is Chris Borch. That puts Chris Borch within 20 seconds now of Jared McClure and a podium position finish here at Mountain Ridge.
We did notice, too, that on camera that Chris Borch did stop and get some clean goggles on, so that will help him this last lap being able to charge, having the clear vision the whole time, Rodney, too. So I look for him to put a big push here this last lap as well.
So Fowler, McGill, McClure, Neal, Chris Borch, your top 5. As we check back a little further, Jay Shadron now has checked in 51.5 seconds back of Chris Borch in the number 6 spot. There goes Shadron now through the pro pits on that Coastal Waynesburg Yamaha as they make a quick pit stop there. And, you know, looking right there, if you notice, it's really kind of hard to tell with the cameras and so forth, especially with the moisture in the air. But that track does, I think that what maybe Michael Swift was talking about underneath, there might be that dry, and that this moisture might not have had a chance to soak in very deep. And if that's the case, I I can certainly see how we could see dust, maybe not only in that one section, but over here in this pro pit section too, quite possibly, at least earlier in the race maybe.
Yeah, right. I think too it might be with all this wind we got here. This wind's blowing so hard, and they're fluffing that dirt up on top of them berms and stuff, and the wind's actually kind of drying it out a little bit, which, like you and me said earlier, that sounds awful crazy, but I think there might be a little bit.
It's starting to, well, they're getting down to some dry, there's no doubt, coming around that berm into the ATV Pro pits, we see them there. So, man, the moisture, I mean, it's not been a lot of rain. I mean, it really hasn't, so the moisture isn't probably deep at all. It's just right here on top, and like we say, it's rock, so it's a little slicker, but these guys don't seem to be having any problems whatsoever traversing the course.
No, I haven't heard over the radio at anybody having any kind of trouble out there. And, I think the track's actually getting better, like we said, and it kind of looks like the Yamaha guys are there waiting maybe for the coal train to stop and get a new pair of goggles.
Well,
but I think he just went right on by, and they're all heading back in to get warm.
Well, you gotta love the mindset of the pit crew. All right, you got your goggles. I'm going back in. They'll be back out to help celebrate come podium time. There's old Ken Hill. Hey, folks, if you want to see some good photos and check out what's going on today, be sure and check out GNCCRacing.com and the photo gallery that Ken Hill is going to be popping up here a little bit later on today. Kenny is a great eye in the sky and from around the trees. He's all dressed in camo and all that stuff. A good guy to have in because he gets some of the candid moments of GNCC.
Yeah, he gets unusual photos. He takes things, he sees things in a different light, I guess you'd say.
I think so. It's a very interesting perspective in which Ken Hill looks at life through, and the GNCC world as well. And he's throwing rocks at us now. Hey, we got to dodge some rocks. Ken, thanks a lot for everything you do. And those of you folks that are watching at home on RacerTV.com, stick around. We got more GNCC Live right after this.
Any engine, any season. At home, at the track, or on the trail. AMSOIL for any engine.
Okay, Rodney, here we are, back GNCC Racing here, and we got the white flag going on, and we're having some fun, huh?
Yes, we are. Got a little off guard there. But
Pennsylvania's not such a bad place after all.
No. Lots of laughs. Like I said, man, these are the kind of places that make memories. And I'm not going to lie, this is probably one of my least favorite events to attend when conditions are like this, just simply because of the winds. Obviously, there's a lot of wind up here because of the windmill farm and everything. But when conditions are like this, it really is tough. And it goes back to the days when I worked on the track crew helping build this thing and tear it down. I can remember some of the most cold days up here. But I came prepared this time, so it wasn't so bad. I guess it's not as bad whenever you aren't prepared. And seeing the forecast for the weekend, it is certainly turned around a lot better than what forecasters were showing earlier. I remember seeing early forecast models predicting as much as 5 to 6 inches of rain up in this area possible from Hurricane Joaquin. I'll be surprised if we see a half inch or an inch total by the time we reach tomorrow evening, unless more rain showers happen to pull in. But right now, it's looking pretty decent. Track shaping up. Racing's been real good. Walker Fowler continues to lead Adam McGill, about 18 seconds separating those two. Another minute back to McClure. Then this is where things start to get interesting. Bryson Neal, 17 seconds back. 3 seconds behind him was Chris Borch. Borch was turning a 17-second faster lap than Neal. Borge turned, now get this, Borge turned a 25-15 to everybody else's, get this, Walker Fowler 25-27, Adam McGill a 25-20, a 25-40 for McClure, a 25-32 for Bryson Neal, but it is a 25-15 for Chris Borge as this race wears on. And we saw this happen 2 weeks ago, Fred, in New York. And what was said by Chris Borge is, I was tight and stiff on those first couple of laps. It took me a couple laps to get warmed up and get the stiffness out. Once I got loose, and we're seeing it happen again. It looks like maybe Chris is starting out cold, but man, when the race wears on, he gets hot, and it's being proven, I think, in lap times right here.
Yeah, Ronnie, just like in New York, like you said, he came through at the end, ended up getting on the podium there, and that's the same thing here that shows you that he's getting faster and faster as the race goes on. So there's still that fire burning him, and he still wants to be that champion.
And
so
that's bad news for everybody else, I think.
Yeah,
Because if he can put that together again like he has been, oh boy, I'm telling you, 2016 is going to be a barn burner, and we thought these last 2 years have been exciting.
Yeah, I mean, this year's been exciting with all the new winners and all the new stuff going on, but next year when everybody's regrouped and things are going again, you know, that's one thing about it. Over the winter, everybody gets new programs, gets new bikes, and gets things all figured out, and the first race of the year is always so exciting because you never know what's going to happen, and, you know, we're already looking forward to it.
Yep, we are. Here it is, we're still with
and it's going to be warm.
Eventually it will be, yes. About 15 minutes now is when we'll be expecting to see the checker flag wave. We expect that Walker Fowler will take that. We expect that he will extend his points lead from 9 to 14 over Adam McGill. Isn't that there's 5 points between first and second, I believe is how that works. And that's going to stretch things out, but still not taking Adam McGill out of the hunt for the championship. It only means that St. Clairsville, Ohio in 2 weeks is only going to be that much more exciting, and you're going to want to be around for that one on October 17th, the ITP Powerline Park GNCC. Be sure and check us out. We'll be broadcasting live about 1 o'clock there again as well. We'll see whether or not Adam McGill can shave some points off. Again, it's not over yet. He still could win. McGill back to the number 2 spot, but we expect that he's probably got a solid second-place position at this point if things continue. The real question, though, becomes back there in the number 3 spot. The Cobra, Jared McClure, Bryson Neal, Chris Borge, all running within 20 seconds of each other in that battle. But here's the thing. It is Chris Borge turning a more than 20-second faster lap time than Jared McClure, and nearly that than Bryson Neal. So I'm thinking that at this rate, Chris Borge, man on a mission, man on a move, and don't be surprised to see the old bandit steal that 3rd place position away.
Yeah, right now I've been waiting, kind of excitedly waiting for the 5-mile marker here. You know, we got the camera there. We can get another little split time on that to see if Adam McGill has caught up to Walker Fowler. You know, last time we saw that, he had caught up to him a little bit. And then, too, we would like to see if Chris Borge really coming forward? Is he making his move to try to get on that podium, maybe 4th or 3rd, or
Well, I'll tell you
what. So much excitement waiting to come and see as soon as we get that next split screen of the camera.
Yeah, for sure. Here's the thing, man. Chris Borge, I don't think, they talk about the Borge bandits. I think the fans is what they talk about in that. But I think that all in all, man, Chris Borge is the original GNCC bandit, man. Stole more wins away from people than probably anybody out there on that last lap. And he's going to steal and try to steal some more thunder again here today for that final podium position finish. And, wow, this is a good stage setter, a good milestone for Chris Borge if he's able to pull this off 2 races in a row.
Yeah, Ron, he's been getting stronger and stronger on that Yamaha each race. So, we expect him to be up there like that and give it the Chris Borge pounce, like we used to call it, when he would go through in second and end up winning. And now I think, Ron, let's talk about our Twitter thing.
Yeah, do you think that Chris Borge is going to be able to make it happen? Tweet your podium finisher predictions and hashtag them GNCC Live for a chance to win $250 in AMSOIL product. If you're not following us on Twitter and also Instagram, it's at RacerTV. Be sure and do so. But tweet your podium finish predictions, hashtag GNCC Live. You could win $250 in AMSOIL product. You don't have to be right. You just got to hashtag GNCC Live. We want to know what you're thinking. Do you think he can do it? Do you think Chris Borge, the old bandit, can the bandit still ride? Is that what we're asking? Has he got another ride left in him here today? Looking for 3rd place out of the number 1 of Chris Borge right now, turning some blistering fast lap times at 1 hour and 51.5 minutes into this race.
Yeah, but, you know, he's getting stronger each lap as it goes on out there. And these guys here, you know, only a few seconds, but a few seconds mean a lot out there when you're going as fast as they are. And, you know, you catch a lapper or two, anything can happen out there. So, like I said earlier, I'm just eagerly awaiting this split time at the 5-mile mark. I don't know, they should be getting close to it here pretty quickly. You know, a 10-mile track, so that's the halfway point, so there'd be still 5 more miles left to see if Adam McGill can catch Walker Fowler, but we're going to have to wait to see what that split time is, Rodney.
Yeah, about 11 and a half minutes, according to scoring and timing, is when we're expecting to see the leaders check in with us here. But a lot of things still looking to happen out there also as we're watching the finish line region and watching a lot of riders check in. As we watch that rider, that's the 217. No, that's not a pro rider, I don't think. But he's got a red background number plate. But one thing to point out, that is a pro rider background here in this series. But some riders from other series have that luxury in other classes. So you might see that dotted in some of the amateur classes out here and may not be an actual pro rider. Looking down through the ranks here, see Cole Richardson now up to the 7th place position overall from that XC2 Pro-Am class. He's turning a 26:02 lap time. Marty Christopherson now is 2nd in that class, is 10th overall. And it looks like A.J. Kuntz is back in the number 13 position overall and 3rd in the XC2 Pro-Am. We see Johnny Gallagher, who, by the way, I think finished 4th here. What year was it? Maybe it was even last year that Gallagher did so well here. Looking back through all the top finishes. There it was. In 2008, Johnny Gallagher actually got a 4th place finish here. For you Johnny Gallagher fans, he's running back in the 12th place overall position, which puts him 10th in the XC1 Pro class. Wow, we're getting some major hum and feedback coming off those speakers on the podium. Might need to turn the gain down a little bit there, audio man, on the master board there for the local sound system. But as just go ahead and turn PA out down just a smidge. Yep. Yes, it's getting much better. A little bit more. Ah, the sweetness. There it is. I think we found it, Fred. You know, with a lot of noise and stuff around here a few moments ago, a lot of folks have left because this final lap, you know, there are a lot of people up around the finish line, a lot of noise and stuff going on, but I think there's a lot of people that have stepped out on this final lap in some of the trouble areas to try to ensure that their riders are getting through okay. But over the course of the next 10 minutes, we're going to see this finish line region, I think, fill up quite a bit, because that's when the leaders are going to be due back into this way. Actually, I've got 8 minutes and 47 seconds when leaders will be in for a possible checker flag coming out. We're looking for Walker Fowler. Oh, man, we're having some technical difficulties with cameras in this weather. You can't doubt that any whatsoever. But we just got the word that now that Adam McGill has pulled to within 5 seconds of Walker Fowler as they close in on the finish line here now. So at 8 minutes out from the finish line, I told you it looked like he was starting to ride with a little bit of fever there at one point, Fred. You noticed it as well.
Sure
and
did.
Now he has shaved it down to just 5 seconds. And the big question is, it's been a while since Walker Fowler's actually been challenged like this. We know that a year ago he's used to being challenged by Chris Borch, but it's been a year since he's actually been challenged. Will Adam McGill be able to pull all the punches it's going to take to get around the number 2?
And will Walker Fowler be able to retaliate against him? You know, if you're kind of cruising out there in the front, you think you got a good pace going, all of a sudden, boom, somebody's on your tail. Are you going to be able to, you know, hold him off or pick your pace back up? And we just got word that
Chris
Borch is in 3rd.
The old bandit has done it, friends. He's stolen it again, man. He's taken the glory away from Jared McClure and Bryson Neal, and now Chris Borch is back into the number 3 spot, according to reports we're getting off the racetrack right now. This race is turning around on this final lap. So can't wait to see what's happening here. How much longer before we get a chance to visually scope these guys out? We're 7 minutes away from checker flag, and 5 seconds separating first and second place position. Adam McGill laying the chase and the charge down right now, and I hope that that battle continues to wage on just like that whenever they near this 10-mile marker in just a few moments.
And one thing's for sure, Rodney, Walker Fowler's quad is definitely going to be a little bit wider right now.
Oh, my.
You know, because these guys, this is it. This is for the championship, and if Adam McGill's rode the wheels off that thing to catch up to Walker Fowler, well, Walker's not just going to let it happen, so it's going to be a dogfight all the way to the finish, and with all these big S corners and big sweeping turns before the finish, we could have something super exciting coming our way.
Most certainly, and that's what we're waiting on, waiting with bated breath, as we like to say. 6.5 minutes out. If you're not near this finish line region, you need to get down here, because if the reports off from the track crew that are coming in are any indication, the finish of this particular race is going to be one that you do not want to miss, friends. Get down here. You could see history in the making. You could see the swing back in the championship points race in the favor of Adam McGill, or at least able to, maybe if he can steal the win, chip it away a little bit and gain WOLFE to within 4 points of the title with 2 rounds of racing left to go. You know, we were wondering if Adam McGill was just going to settle back. I think this answers our question, Fred Andrews.
Yeah, Rodney, I think Rublin's going to be racing here shortly. It's not out of the question to see that happen here, these last corners. I mean, it's kind of neat they put this stuff in like this. Gives the fans in the crowd, they're starting to pour in here at the finish line, some excitement to see these guys. You know, there's 5 or 6 corners that anything could happen even before they get to the finish.
Well, I got to tip my hat to the fans of GNCC Racing that are braving the elements out here today. What we're seeing is just a small portion of the true turnout that we have. They're littered across the mountainside here in a lot of different places, and we'll see a lot of them congregating out here closer to the finish over the course of the next 5 minutes, as we even just witnessed motor builder for Adam McGill, Mr. Mark Baldwin there, walking by. He's walking with a little bounce in his step, and you know, he's walking like he might know something out there, Fred Andrews. Maybe
he might have put something special in there.
He might have put something special in there, quite honestly, quite possibly. The way that he was bouncing it out, he looked pretty confident in what was taking place with that Baldwin motor that Adam McGill's pushing right now.
Or it might have just been nerves, because he's like us, just excited to see what's going to happen. You know, he just could be hoping that his guy comes around first, or you know, everybody's kind of on their toes right now, Rodney. Everybody's looking to see who's going to pop around that corner first.
An hour and 59 minutes into this race, less than 5 minutes to go before we'll see a glimpse of the front 2. Are they still nose to tail? Has Adam McGill been able to get around Walker Fowler? And wow, is Chris Boris still maintaining the number 3 position? Remember, he was turning some 20-second faster lap than everybody else out there on the racetrack heading into the final lap of racing.
And how far are first and second? Maybe he's putting the pounce on really hard. Maybe he's pushing to the front.
Ooh, yeah, there was a minute that separated the two, but with that being said, a 20-second lap, depending on how fast they're going right now, you never know. Forge could come in a lot tighter and a lot closer than what we're even anticipating and expecting. And look at this, the visibility getting less and less here as we're watching these final turns out here near the 10-mile marker. Fred Andrews, you can see that the cloud cover is starting to move in. I don't want to call it fog because of the elevation that we're looking at. That's just plain old clouds that we're looking at. We're stuck right in the middle of right now.
Yeah, and you can see the crowd starting to pour in here to the finish line. The wind's picking up, so this is going to be definitely be an exciting finish for these guys as they come in. We're not too far off, probably another 3 or 4 minutes to get here to the finish line, Rodney. It was looking like.
Winds have changed, man.
I know that you and I are both standing up now. We've been sitting there on these cold plastic seats, and we're getting cold. We're trying to get up here and get some blood flowing and get moving around.
Yep.
And
you know that Pastor Chuck LeMaster told me that the way to get warm, jumping jacks. I was like, man, I'm freezing. What am I going to do to warm? He said, jumping jacks.
Did you ever try jumping jacks with a headset on?
I am right now. Actually, it does seem to work a little bit, but wow, a little over 2 hours. I'm getting excited here. 3 minutes. 3 minutes is what we're anticipating our leaders to be in visual contact with us. We'll be able to see them at this point. We'll be able to see whether or not Adam McGill's been able to gap that 5 seconds, whether or not Walker Fowler was able to pick it up and stretch that 5 seconds back out to another big lead over the number 2 ride of the 521 and McGill. We'll just have to wait and see. As we said, we wait with bated breath, not getting the radio reports that we got there a little bit earlier. We got the camera crew listening in closely to some of the track personnel out there giving some of the updates, and I myself am going to switch on over and see what we got going on here. 2 minutes out. 2 minutes out. As we wait once again, track crew, I know we're still a couple minutes out. Any last words on what you saw there with that battle for first? Not getting much. They must be watching this race too. Thought we might have a report coming in, but right now we're about a minute and 13 seconds away when we expect to see the leaders check in. It could be a little quicker, it could be a little later than that, but we are getting into that 1 minute range, Fred Andrews. Now, less than a minute, and the excitement begins to build here.
I don't know about you, Rodney, but my blood's starting to flow right now. I'm not even cold anymore. I'm just excited to see. This is up.
Oh, mercy. And then we just saw the big sign.
Fowler.
Big gap, and there's Walker Fowler all by himself, and he doesn't even seem to be pushing it.
No, he looks like he's just kind of cruising, like maybe something happened or he got close and saw him get stuck or I don't know what, but Walker Fowler's just like on a Sunday cruise right now.
And he keeps looking back, so you know that McGill must have been there like we got the reports from. But look at this. He is not under any pressure. And
no goggles on, just cruising on in. Walker Fowler does it.
And the Fowler fanatics are happy once again as Walker Fowler wins the Mountain Ridge GNCC.
Extends his points lead. Nice ride, Walker Fowler. And here comes Adam McGill in for second.
In for second. Let's see what the official gap on this is. It says 10 seconds now, so he gained up to about 5 seconds and lost back. Lap time 25:01. Ended up being about 8 second faster lap than Walker Fowler. Now the big question is, how far back is this third place rider going to be? And is it still going to be the old bandit, Chris Borge, making his way into the folds there? Or are we going to see the Cobra strike back and take over the number 3 position here? And what about the youngster, the young gun of Bryson Neal? Can he make it happen himself? Three-way battle royale there at one point for the third place position. And right now, the Pennsylvania natives are waiting to see if one of theirs are going to come through. Sunbury's Chris Borge or Casca's Jared McClure. Ricky Towery still standing out there through all the elements with that checker flag in hand, ready to send the thrills of excitement through those folks that finished well here today. And you know, Walker Fowler had to be especially happy to see the black and white striped jacket of Ricky Towery there waiting on him at that. Looks like
that's not Chris Borge right there, Rodney.
That might be McClure. I can't tell through all the fog. That is McClure. That is the number 4 we're seeing coming in. So the old bandit had it stolen away from him. And the snake struck. The snake has struck.
Somebody's right on his back. You know, with this fog sitting in like that, Rodney, I can't tell for sure, but it looks like somebody's hot on his heels, whether Chris Borge, he just repassed him maybe, or?
Nope, there's a lapper. So at the checker flag, he's all coiled up. He's all hissing. Jared McClure, a.k.a. the former Sneaky Snake, now known as the Cobra, takes away third place
Chris
position.
Borge. We got ourselves a battle going right here with Chris Borge and Bryson Neal.
Bryson Neal steals it back, according to...
He just disappeared.
I can't see.
Bryson Neal was right on the back of Chris Borge, but he messed up in that corner, whether he high-sided or just went straight up. Here he comes in right now.
Yeah, Borge gets 4th there, so Borge will take 4th as we see him going through there.
I knew those last few corners would be, cause for some kind of excitement. I just didn't think it would be Chris Borge and Bryson Neal battling out there.
Wow, 24 seconds back, a 25:56. Chris Borge slowed down almost a minute. 45 seconds or so on that last lap. So wow, he must have had some problems because he closed up and then fell back again. So, wow, I can't wait to see what the story on that one is. Or did our track crew get it wrong? Was McClure sneaking his way through there like the Cobra, ready to strike and make that podium position finish? Regardless, he's there, and we're going to find out the whole story of how it all unfolded firsthand from those riders coming up in just a few moments. Is Megawatt Matt Watson going to be making his way over to the finish line? One thing to point out, it's not going to be the most beautiful podium presentations I think we've seen in the past because of the fact that everything is just blown
Mother
away.
Nature took care of that, Rodney. There's no backdrop this weekend. With the wind blowing like this, just no way. We tried to put it up, blew it down, and it's just not going to happen.
Oh, we had, if you noticed on the pro pits, you know how we normally run that mesh with that nice mesh wall down through there? Well, they had pennants up today because yesterday they tried to put the mesh up and it laid all the flagpoles down over the wind was blowing so hard.
One thing's for sure, though, Rodney, even though we don't have the backdrop, we're going to have that same excitement up there on the finish, up on the podium. We're going to have these guys talking about how the race went. You know, maybe Walker Fowler can tell us if Adam actually did get close to him, if he saw him or what happened.
Yeah.
So, you know, the end result's going to be the same, but it might not look as good. But, man, it's going to be exciting to hear these guys up there tell what happened out there and explain their day and, you know, see what their strategy worked out the way they wanted it to.
Yes, for sure. And that podium presentation coming up here in just a few moments. Hey, by the way, just a couple of reminders for you. Our next ATV race, again, is coming up at St. Clairsville, round 12. The AMSOIL GNCC series will be the ITP Powerline Park GNCC in St. Clairsville, Ohio. Be sure and join us then. Come see the race. Check out the race. Go to GNCCRacing.com for more details and information on that. And a reminder for those of you here at the racetrack, you can go home and watch today's archived race. All the coverage right here all day long, archived on live stream and at RacerTV.com throughout the entire 2015 season. So if you missed it today and you want to go back and check it out again for yourself, be sure and do so, because that, my friends, you can do. As we continue to watch riders check in, again, it's Fowler, McGill, McClure, Boric in fourth, Bryson Neal in fifth, Jay Shadron holds on for sixth, Brian Wolfe in the number 7 position. Actually, it's Cole Richardson checks in with the adjusted time, takes over 7th place. That moves Wolfe back to 8th place overall. And looking at Josh Merritt in the 9th place position, as we should see Marty Christopherson round out your top 10 coming up here in just a couple moments. We got podium presentations coming up here in just a few moments, Fred. And also just want to remind you folks that coming up next weekend for you folks that are going to be anywhere close by, High Point Raceway is going to be racing on Saturday and Sunday with the PAMX Fly Racing Pennsylvania State Championship. Be sure and check that out. For more information, go to racerproductions.com on the World Wide Web. Well, GNCC podiums are coming up next. Stick around as GNCC Live continues after this.
Check, check. All right, Rodney, getting our guys rounded up here. We'll just be one second, Rodney.
Any season. At home. At the track. Or on the trail. AMSOIL for any engine.
And welcome back to GNCC Live here from Mountain Ridge ATV Park and Wind Farm. Windmill Farm, as you can see, we farm wind up here, and it's a lot of wind that we got going on here as the wind settles. Well, the race settles. The wind's sure isn't settling. We got, well, we know how it all turns out. We got Walker Fowler taking a win, extending his championship points lead now 5 more to 14 over Adam McGill, who finishes up second. The Cobra, Jared McClure finishing in third. Chris Borch with a great late race push coming across the line in fourth. Bryson Neal in fifth. Jay Shadron sixth. Cole Richardson again, your XC2 Pro-Am class winner, finishes seventh overall. Brian Wolfe, Josh Merritt, Marty Christopherson second in the XC2 Pro-Am class, 10th overall. And that's a look at your Rocky Mountain ATVMC leaderboard and overall results board there as things are getting ready to go down on the podium. We see making their way up onto the podium now Walker Fowler, and now it looks like your third place rider Jared McClure. So there you go, ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together. Welcome to the podium, our top 3 overall today, Jared McClure, Adam McGill, and your Mountain Ridge champion Walker Fowler.
All right, Rodney, thanks a lot. We got to take just a minute here and get these guys lined up for their pictures, get their medals on. Where's Ken Hill at? Where's he at? Get these guys lined up and get our photos going on. Let Chelsea get these guys their medals. Hey, make some noise for you guys. 2 hours? Come on, Somerset. Let's hear it. Our top 3 overall here today. Jared McClure in third place today. Adam McGill, a hard-fought second place. And Walker Fowler out to an early lead and able to hang on to the finish. You guys make some noise. After 2 hours, these guys finishing a couple bike lengths apart. One more time. Let's hear it. Right on. Good deal. I tell you what, these guys have got their medals. I don't see Ken. There's Ken Hill up there. We need him right in the front, Ken. All right, if you guys know the routine, let's hop right up here in the front. Let's go ahead and get these pictures. Now, we had an early report, Rodney, that there might have been a pass on the last lap on Jared McClure by Borch, but he's confirmed for me that is not true. Had several seconds on him, and no last lap pass by Borch, so Jared was able to maintain that position without too much of a fight or altercation. So if I could, Jared, get you right up here in the middle. Guys, grab your trophies. You got yours? There we go. Awesome. Good shape. All right, now if we could get that iPad down so Ken could take some pictures. All right, good deal. Well, a lot going on out on the track there today. An unbelievable race. A lot of action back in that third, fourth, fifth positions today. A lot of stuff happening. Like I said, Walker basically getting out to an early lead today and able to put it together and keep that thing together for the finish and get the first place. But Jared, man, oh man, a pretty hard-fought race out there today. On the screen, it looks like you guys are on top of each other, some position changes out there, but it looked like a really close race on the screen. Is that the case?
Yeah, in the beginning, there was definitely a dogfight going on out there. I think it was Sertivan, Neil, Jay Shadron, Brian Wolfe, Chris Borch. We were all in like a group, and you know, it was just crazy coming through the rocks, everybody taking chances, trying to pass each other. So, you know, I seen the laps were 20, 23 minutes, so I was kind of thinking I'd have to pull something in the pits to try to get by. So third lap there when everybody pitted, I decided to keep going. Kind of chancing it a little on fuel, but I was pretty sure, you know, I was taking it easy out there on the bike, kind of lugging it through the mud and stuff, keeping traction, so I wasn't using as much fuel, which kind of helped too, I think. But, you know, then I got by them, was able to check out enough, pitted the next lap, and still kept my gap on them, and you know, just kind of stayed consistent and, you know, ended up here.
Well, you look strong all the way to finish. A great ride today. I know you got a lot of people that helped you get up here and get this third place today. Who are they, bud?
Definitely got to thank my my dad is here, my girlfriend Sierra, everybody that came out, my buddies Robbie and Chris and their kids. My friend Coyote and Brent down the mud hole helped me out with some lines. You know, so I definitely want to get them guys first. Then, I always thank John Bowers, helps me out. Bowers Motorcycle assembles all my motors and stuff. Then ATVriders.com. Harlan's been a big part of my program. Thank him too. Then, you know, I gotta thank DWTs for the tires out there today. Worked awesome. Tires and wheels. Baldwin for this motor. He's here today. Pumped to be up here. You know, the motor was ripping. Didn't skip a beat out there. So thanks, Mark. then just, we go down the list. Dexera Tech, Elka Suspension, Power Mat, Precision, Foreworks, Scott, the goggles, man, they were unbelievable today in these conditions. So, you definitely got to have a pair of those. Mark Spataro, Mode Pro Training, Moose Racing. The gears vented a little too good today, but, still worked good. Sunstar, Impact Solutions, Matocycle, Gland Innovations, HMF, Spider Graphics, keeping this thing looking good. That's pretty much all. If I missed you, I'm sorry, but thanks for all the help, and I love the fans out there. Thanks, GNCC.
Well, I know they're all proud of you and all behind you, so hey, make some noise one more time for third place today. Jared McClure, you guys, hard-fought third-place finish. Now, over here, this guy always knows how to make it exciting. This guy always knows how to bring a little storyline to it. Adam, you were telling me that, man, oh man, you closed the gap, you reeled him in, man, you were just confident that it was about to happen, and you got a bad downhill outside drift, man. We clipped a tree, it spit you off, it spun like a Frisbee. Tell us about it, man.
Yeah, we was out there, had a decent start. Walker got in front of me. He led from flag to flag, essentially. I pushed it. We was about 6.5 mile marker. I was catching him. I saw him. Man, I just took a shitty, flipped it over. It hit the ground pretty good. My head's thumping pretty bad. So just want to get the hell out of here and get where it's warm. I know these fans are cold, but you guys kicked ass today. Thank you so much for being out here, letting me beat this Honda up for you guys. It was definitely one for the memories, for sure.
Hey, man, let's run down the short list. You got your pit board right here. I know you're dying to get back to the RV, man. Let's thank these guys and make it a wrap.
Yeah, CST tires hooked up great. PoweredMX.com supplied me with the parts for this Honda. Lone Star DC Pro components, Custom Access shocks. Baldwin Engines was here. He come up. We had an issue in New York. Got all that figured out. Tire blocks, no flat all day. DeRisi Racing. My dad for putting this bike together. My fiance Haley. All the pit crew. Thank you so much. FMF, GoPro, Get a Performance skid plate, Hyper, Dynamic Designs, Cycro, ODI, Dirtworks with the 24-volt, UPP, Wiseco, Vanilla, Leat, Fast, IMS, RG Honda supplied me with this awesome kick-ass bike out here. Twin Air, Sunstar, JT, DP Brakes, Scott Goggles, Works Connection, RGR Bumpers, Streamline, Quad Tech, Throttle Out, Boys and Alliant for their batteries, Mayor, Outerwears, Maxima, and All Balls. And you fans, you guys come from all around. I've got a fan out here from Oklahoma. Thank you so much, and keep the Mafia strong going into Powerline.
Right on. The West Virginia Wild Man. Make some noise right now for second place. Adam McGill, you guys. Right on. And you know what? Walker, you and I were talking just a few minutes ago. As you brought this thing around the track, man, it almost looked like you were in the middle of a practice session at first. You looked very calculated. You looked pretty smooth. And you told me you had to baby the track. And you know what? I know exactly what you meant when you told me that. Tell these folks a little bit about what that means.
Yeah, you had to ride at 50, 60%. Adam started pushing that last lap, and I knew I knew that it was either going to work for him and he's going to catch me, or it was going to bite him. And he made up a lot of time, and he got within seeing distance, and I was just I couldn't feel my hands, and just like, oh no, this could I have done something early to get a bigger lead? But I was just like, do your thing. It worked all day. You rode mistake free. Save the gloves, save the goggles as best you can, and all of a sudden it got quiet again. So, like I said, I just babied the track, gear high everywhere. I probably don't have a clutch anymore, but that's all right. We got to the finish line, rode all day without rear brakes. I blew the skid plate off of it the first lap, and at first it was a problem, and then I just realized you couldn't slow down if you wanted to slow down, and you could slow down. So it was so slippery. But Adam, like I said, if he would have attacked the tree the last lap, it probably would have came down the last couple corners, and it'd been tough.
I tell you, you and your dad chatted about race management. Man, you've had the best in the world rub your back leg. Okay, you've had the best in the world push you around. But when race management's going through your mind, and you hear this guy coming up behind you, and you know the time's coming, it's time to manage that race and get wide. What was going through your mind, man?
Just do my own thing. A race like today, you can lose the championship really quick. You're not going to win it on a day like today, but you can lose it really quick. So, Adam had a misfortune last race, and usually this year we've kind of flip-flopped. I've had some bad luck. He had some bad luck. I've had the bad luck. He had the bad luck. And not hopefully, but, for my sake, maybe he'll be the last one that had bad luck. But we got 2 races left, and I'm just gonna, like I said, do my race and do my thing. And and pray.
Hey, man, who helped you get up here today?
Like I said, I want to definitely give the good Lord the glory today. And, you know, it was definitely some brutal conditions. Hopefully everyone, you know, gets home safe. At this point, the roads actually might be icy, so everyone leave and be careful. Definitely got to give it up to the fans. The few of you that are still here, thank you guys. It's awesome. Everyone that was out in the woods, we really do appreciate it.
The real fans that hung out all day. Give yourself a hand. Let's hear it. Right on. Let's make this list, man.
I definitely got to give it up to my mechanic, Mark Notman, again for, you know, we got her to the finish line. My mom and dad. Definitely got to give up to Emperor Yamaha. Just Randy Hawkins, the whole crew. Thank you guys. The Notman family's here. Thank you so much. My little buddy, Cole Richardson. Congrats on your championship, bud. You look just as cool as we do. Congrats. Steve in the woods. Everyone. Brian Notman was in the woods. The whole, actually, even the Borage crew is helping me out. Thank you guys so much. Heck, where do we go? NFAB, Emperor Yamaha, of course. Moto Experts, we got a great start, and that was the key today. I'm not a good starter, and these Maxxis tires and this Moto Experts motor with, you know, anti-gravity batteries lit, and we got going. Definitely got to give it up to Lone Star, Hill International, MSR, Fox, DP, Tire Balls, Vortex, Outerwears. Let's make this quick. Precision, Yamalu, Moto Seat, Anti-Gravity, Cycler Lee at Wiseco, Fuel Customs, Waynesburg Yamaha, IMS, CV4, Force Connection, DID, Dragon Racing Fuels, D4 Power Spets, Sports, let's go. Bell, Scott Goggles today were awesome. We're all Scott athletes, so thank you guys. And definitely got to give up the Graphic Works, making the bikes look good. We got something in the works for one of the next 2 rounds we're excited for. And I don't know, just like I said, all the fans, thank you so much. Everyone back in Florida watching online, I hate you guys right now. It's 90. I hate you. Thank you, guys.
Awesome. Great job, Cole. Oh, shoot, I called your teammate. I called you Adam and then Cole. Walker Fowler with the win here today. Let's get that champagne spray going on. We're going to get Cole up here next. We'll be able to talk to him in just a minute. But one more time, you guys, how about the effort from these guys today? For sure.
Woo! What a day, what a day. And congratulations again to our top 3 overall here. It is Walker Fowler taking the win over Adam McGill, and Jared McClure once again finds his way solidly to the podium. The Cobra strikes again here, and we say congratulations to our AMSOIL Twitter contest winner. It's Nathan. It's at Waffle Ted. His AMSOIL prediction was Adam McGill, Jared McClure, and Chris Borich. Well, not so much right, but it was right enough. He hashtagged GNCC Live, and he picks himself up $250 in sweet AMSOIL product. And my friends, that's going to wrap things up here from the Mountain Ridge GNCC. Of course, we'll be back with more two-wheel racing action coming up tomorrow here from beautiful Somerset, Pennsylvania. On behalf of my broadcast crew here, of course, talking about Fred Andrews and Megawatt Matt Watson and all of RacerTV's staff and management, I'm Rodney Tomlin. Have a great day, everybody.